The RM of Rosedale is located to the north and west of Neepawa, stretching west to Franklin and north to Kelwood. The total land area is 865 square kilometers, divided into 6 wards, each with its own member of council.
If I can get everybody to go in a moment of silence for the victims and the ones that were charged with tragical thing that happened in Tumbler Ridge, BC. Thank you. Okay, I'll call to order. Do I have a mover? Sure. Seconder. Are you sure? Be it resolved that the regular meeting of the RM of Rosedale Council on February 13, 2026 be called to order. All in favor? Carried. Confirmation of minutes. Do I have a mover? Seconder. Robert Scott. Be it resolved that the minutes of the January 9th, 2026 regular meeting of the council be accepted as presented. All in favor? Carried. Adoption of the agenda. Do I have a mover? Sure. Seconder, Jeff Henderson. Is there any changes or additives to the agenda? Be it resolved that the agenda be adopted and the order of the agenda is authorized to be altered as required. All in favor? Carried. List of accounts. Do I have a mover? Fixed it on the cost and stuff. Seconder. Earl Burton. Be it resolved that the council do hereby adopt the approve the total payable or expenses in the amount of
$158,584.73.
That's check 26725 to 26789. Further be it resolved that the online bank payments in the amount of $2,159.61 be approved. Further be there resolved that the automatic withdrawal of $108.08 be approved. And further be it resolved that the utilities check 7171 to 7181 be approved within the amount of $2,717.18. All in favor? Carried.
So in there you'll see that there's the last check cut to JC Lavish Construction for the shower drain installment, and that should be the last that we currently have on the go for the skating rink. That's the last part of the jobs that he was awarded, and there's currently no other work being done right now.
That's a year ago.
No, he just completed it, but it's, the permission was given, but it's done now. He's completed that job.
Hey. Item 4.2, January 2026 financial statement. Do I have a number? Dave Tedder. Seconder. Jeff Henderson. Be it resolved that the
The unaudited financials.
I would the audited financials as January 31st, 2026 be accepted and as presented.
So in this package, you'll find October, November, and December's general operating fund bank reconciliation, as I indicated before. Just needed some time to get done. We have our auditors coming in a couple weeks, so we're still working on finishing off the year end and rolling things over. So there's going to be some changes, and then probably another December 31st financial statement brought forward to council. So the January one is kind of pretty simple. There's still a couple items that we've incurred expenses on in January that were recorded in January that I got to move back to December. But for the most part, we're just really trying to keep our books going and as up to date as possible at all times. I found out yesterday that the main person who does our audit prepping is no longer with the company. So we might have somebody new coming in to do our audit. Like the main auditor is there, but usually your auditor doesn't actually come and do the audit. They have employees who come and do it, and then they review and finalize the documents. So we'll see how all that works, because it's unfortunate because I relied on that guy a lot for a lot of the institutional knowledge. Like, what is this number in this book? Like, how was it recorded, or things like that? Whereas I don't have that means of communication anymore. And then the other thing too, with the bank recs, it can seem pretty long, and that's what we're doing right now, is identifying all these outstanding items and trying to get them recorded or realize what's going on. There's a number of province of Manitoba payments that we've received that weren't receipted, so that's a mission on its own, trying to figure out which department. Because even though all the funds come from the Minister of Finance, every department is different. So transportation was an easy one to work with. I got municipal relations going too. Like, we just received our Manitoba Grow grant for the bridge project. They gave us half just today. So we are starting to figure out which department of the province is dumping money in our bank account. But as you see on the bank rec, there's still quite a few items we're trying to track down. And then obviously those will impact our financial statements as well, right? If the province gave us 44,000, well, that's got to get recognized as a revenue. We're 28,000. So those are still ongoing, but at least I have everything balanced for now. And nothing of really concern yet. Is there any questions regarding anything with the financials this month? Seeing none, we'll probably call for the vote.
All in favor? Carried.
Our first scheduled reception of delegation is until 10:15, and you'll note we have 4 of them today, so we can just roll on into communication.
One. So this one.
This-
Okay, communications. Do I have a mover? Seconder. Wrong cross. Be it resolved that the communication items be received as presented.
Okay, so in our communication listing so far, the province has told us what they want for the provincial assessment service levy. This is something they do every year. We received the year-end report from the Riding Mountain UNESCO World Biosphere Reserve of what they're up to. I didn't really identify anything really in that report to bring to your guys' attention, but I encourage you to read it and maybe you pick up on something I missed. There is a 40th anniversary periodic review they're going to be doing, establishing priorities. So you identify any kind of priorities you'd like the UNESCO to pay attention to. Keep that in mind. We received a partnership update from the Westlake Employment Skills and Service Center of what they're up to and how things have been going. Currently, they're not changing their request, but they are warning that they are burning up all their partnership funds over the last few years. So that might come. The RCMP has provided us with a monthly report for occurrences and crime stats in the RM. Nothing nothing really to bring to your guys' attention, but as always, if you ever want to talk to the staff sergeant, he's more than willing to come out. The Kinsman Club is putting on a mini putt masters. Reviewing it doesn't look like we've ever done it before, but it's council's choice if you guys want to take part in this, put a team in, or just even sponsor. They have hole sponsors, bar cart sponsors, snack sponsors. The participation costs $200 for a 4-person team, or $20 to be a spectator, $5 for family fun admission. And then the province has given us a notice, as I kind of gave you guys a heads up. The election officials training is starting at the end of March because elections are coming and there's a lot of rules with that, but we'll get into those kind of rules and things that impact the municipal election closer to the date. There are periods, we can't advertise any new grants or programs and stuff when we're in that election campaign period, but that's a long way away. This is to just get you guys thinking about the election and election officer training. Is there any questions regarding the communication listing today?
Good. All in favor? Carried.
Under bylaws, you'll see the Kelwood LUD water rates, but it says no readings. It's still actually held up at the Public Utilities Board after you guys gave it second reading prior to my arrival and shipped it off to them. So I reached out to the main lady who's in charge of it, Jennifer Dubois, and let her know it's not easy on a utility if you're needing to do a rate increase back in 2024 and we can't get approval through the Public Utilities Board, because if you're losing money now, how are we not in 2025 and not in 2026? So we'll see when this utility rate will ever get through the Public Utilities Board. But they always have priorities, right? So if Manitoba Hydro needs a rate increase, they kind of jump over top of poor little Kelwood. So, because you guys gave it second reading February 14th, 2025, so it's been a full year. It's been at their board and hasn't been queued up yet. So,
is there any kind of a stalemate on this on third readings? Is there readings?
No. Provided they don't reject what you proposed for your rates, because this establishes a quarterly minimum and the water rates and things like that. So provided that's not rejected, then yeah, it should be all right that way. So then that kind of rolls us into 8.2, which is the indemnity bylaw. Talking with you guys last meeting kind of gave me direction on what you were hoping to see. So I have it prepared for second and third reading today.
So do I have a mover on the agenda? 8.2. Ernie. Second. Sure. Dave Tedder. Whereas section 142 of the Municipal Act allows council to set the rates for indemnities, mileage,
Remuneration.
and expense payable. Therefore be it resolved that the council of the RM of Rosedale gave second reading to bylaw 1-2026, being the RM indemnity bylaw, and repeal bylaw 6-2022. All in favor? Carried. Okay, indemnity bylaw third reading. Oh.
Yeah.
Or do the third reading.
Okay.
Okay.
We won't read this till after.
Okay. So we'll move into delegations.
Yeah.
Yeah, by which one?
Read yourself. Okay.
thanks for coming out this morning.
Yeah, sorry, that's a miscommunication on this. So, yeah, I guess I'm looking to council to want to know what we're supposed to do to resolve said issue.
So back in October, the joint councils of the municipality of Rosedale and Clan William Erickson sent a joint letter saying that the boundary road has a fence across it, and then they asked that the fence and gates be altered. And looks like the fence across Road 97 is really the contentious item. I believe Councillor Kostenchuk, did you go out there to see it?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
That's the east-west road, Rob? Or the north-south road?
Muscaloops to the west.
East-west. I just wanted to, I'm sorry, but are you Jordan?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Jeff Henderson. Okay. Are you related to, like, you're the son of somebody, or how does it?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
East-west, yes. East-west road, okay.
No, it's okay, so that's just,
Okay,
That's
so
this
this
one.
Map, okay, so you in that map?
It's
One on here.
it's on your screen.
You have one of these, right?
I know, but it's okay,
Yeah, you're familiar with it, I'm sure.
okay. So I guess my concern is, as of this point in time, so in talking to Erickson and Clan William, they have no issue with anything, and they're done and washed their hands of this, is what they've told me, Ian and Victor. So I don't know where that leaves you guys. I'm not sure. Obviously, that has been there since my parents have owned that land. So they have owned 20, well, would be one, we've owned for 29 years, 30 years this year. It's about 26. So we've created our own access to a no access quarter for those 30 years, and where there's been no issue up until now. So what is the issue, I guess, is my concern. The road allowance that I'm blocking is a no access road allowance. Now, since I bought the west of 6, we've been the ones that have cleaned that up and maintained that, gotten rid of the trees and whatever, because I would like to be able to use that.
That's been an issue for years.
Oh,
Robert's
100%. It's not, and I mean, it will never, I don't think it's ever going to be passable with our machines, because the top where the culverts are behind the house, where Mark, like you guys would have been down there this fall to look at this. It's passable by passenger vehicle, but we're not going to get our equipment down there. That's going to be the problem, because there is no top on that road. I'm not 10 feet wide anymore, right?
Well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the gate and the fence.
So that's my concern, is why is that an issue now? Why is that an issue if if we look at the other one that's going north and south, so Bonnie has access to that quarter coming from the north. He's had a gate across that and has utilized most of that road allowance forever. So now all of a sudden he doesn't have livestock, and he's demanding that he has access from 2 different sides, where we still argue that I don't have proper access to one. So what is the issue? That's been that way for more than 30 years. I've been involved in the operation this will be my 26th year, but that's been that way since Mom and Dad have bought that 96.
But that's been an issue for years. You know that, and I know that. Like this is, we've heard about this how many times, right? About that fence across the road, and the fence going north. It's on the road both sides. It's been an issue for years. Like it's.
Yeah, so I guess we just need to figure out what it's going to be that's going to resolve that. And I mean, I guess when we look at this, then I guess my thing is going to be then there's going to be other road allowances that are going to come into play, and they're going to have to get dealt with as well.
What we agreed with RM of Rosedale after they backed out of it. Why can't you move your west of your was it 1?
Okay.
Move that advance a little bit further west and then go back to the boundary to the north. And then that'll open up that area, and where you're got the gate on the east side, put panels as needed when you're moving your cattle back and forth.
I guess I don't see the difference. There's plenty of gates there. There's multiple gates there. So if somebody wants the access, they can open the gates and have access. I guess that's what I'm trying to understand, that because if we go down now, that would be 96, and we go over to where the Konings have that. They have steel gates across that road allowance that's padlocked. So how's that any different? And Ian was out there, and Ian see it. Ian has the pictures of it.
Well, that is really they grew up.
So I guess from my perspective, this is not intimately familiar with this particular patch of land, but from my perspective, it's there's a set of rules in place, and there's been exceptions made, and there's also been contentious issues for a number of years, is what I've been told, in some areas. And you're not the only one that's got a contentious issue. So it's when you start making exceptions based on past precedent, and then somebody else says, okay, well then I get to, and then somebody else says, well then I get to, and then everybody has a good point, everybody has a valid point. But then you get into, when you have two people with two valid points, black and white, at some point you have to go back and revert to the act and the regs. And unfortunately, the acts and regs say you can't block access. So at a certain point, if you have an act in place that's clearly written that you can't do that, and that if the municipality is a child of the province is supposed to enforce in fairness the acts and regs, then what choice does anybody have at that point where if there's contention, then you have to revert back to the letter of the law, which says you can't block access to a road allowance. And yes, we can all point to that one over there, but that one over there has its own set of problems. And then those guys can point to this one over there. So what we do is one at a time, clean them up one at a time, reestablish a precedent, and then move forward in fairness and openness and transparency. That's how I look at it. And I realize
that's fine. I can understand that and appreciate that. So then, if that's the case, then everything has to follow the same rules. That's what you're telling me.
that's what I
So then all the other road allowances, everything that's blocked will have to get dealt in the same manner. And I'm not gonna do anything until those are dealt with then. Because that's what you're telling me is, well, we all have to follow the same rules, so we all have to follow the same rules.
So I'll give you a rebuttal to that one, not as an argument, but just as
Yeah.
That's what the next guy is going to say as well. I'm not doing it until he does it. And that's the unfortunate part.
And I get that. There's no argument with that. That's why this is an unfortunate issue, is because there's been, what does anyone gain out of this? What does anyone stand to gain? RM, me, anyone involved stands to gain out of this?
Although this particular, well, consistency and fairness. That's what,
So then,
that's what the
again,
architect-
that has to go through with all of the other road allowances that are in the RM. That's what we have to follow through. So I mean, if the Konings are gonna take down those gates and make that road allowance exposed and wide open, then I guess that's what is gonna happen.
That one's different though again, because that goes into their own property.
There's still a road allowance there, Ron. It don't matter where it goes in. This is going into our property.
Yeah, but this guy the other guy hasn't got access into that property.
Who doesn't have access into which property?
His.
Sure he does. He goes down a graveled municipal road from the north that he has better access, clear access than we have on one. I have no access on one.
Yeah, there's access there.
How do I have access there?
Isn't 97 an earth road?
It's an earth road for.
It isn't passable by my machinery. That's been the argument that I've made throughout this nonstop.
There's a lot of roads like that in RM. A lot of roads. There's a lot of earth roads in RM. And that one you can go down that one. I'm not saying with your equipment, but you got other access into that part.
That we've provided. The RM hasn't provided me the access. Ian came out, which is a little bit disappointing that at least the other RM came out and looked at the issue. Ian came out and toured that our road that comes across 7 that we've been using for 30 years. And he said, yes, I can see what you're looking at and I can see what the issue is. So I guess that's why maybe they just walked away and said, well, he has access. And Victor told me, Bonnie has clear access to his property via that other road.
From the road from the north, yeah, I agree.
So we don't have that type of access that he does. So all of a sudden, how come I have to be different than the other guy? The one guy's claiming he has no access, which he clearly does, and you guys, if you've been there, you would know that.
So in one here, Jordan, do you actually, there's livestock only in there, or is there also grain farm in there as well?
Well, there is livestock in there currently, but it is being prepped for cropland. So we pull our big machinery in and out of there.
And that's your access, kitty corner across.
So we have across 7, if we had Google Maps or whatever, if we blow that up, we have built our own roadway across 7 where that municipal road ends. And that's been our access for 30 years because there just isn't good access on the other side. 97 just isn't gonna work, right? The top of this road. And I mean, we're gonna have an issue. We're gonna drop something through the road or crush it. And there is no culverts there, they're just welded, right? I mean,
Sorry, all our things years ago.
so they're starting to collapse as it is. I'm not gonna do them any favors if we're gonna pound over them. So I guess we just need to come up with a resolution. I mean, this is obviously wasting your time and I apologize for that. But again, it's also wasting my time. And so we need to figure out what this is and how this gets resolved. But at the same time, in fairness to, I think, all the ratepayers is if the rules are the rules, then we all gotta follow the rules. And if we're gonna make exceptions, then we're gonna make exceptions.
Well, I think this, to extend what Jeff said a little bit, I think the fact is there's lots of complaints about this particular crossing. Also, because I think that's where this, we had to make some sort of decision, and unfortunately it affects you, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, with the complaints that keep coming about this section of road, we have to do something. I mean, and go back to the rule book as Jeff suggested, but I mean, it's not every crossing or lock gate that you spoke about has a complaint against it. So I mean, it just kind of stays in the gray area, I'll say. But I mean, this is I've been here 7 years, and I've heard this complaint a few times. I've been on that road 6 years ago when I first got here or whatever. So I mean, I don't know the area very well, but I mean, the complaint, we have to stop the complaint. I mean, and the names you mentioned, we haven't got a complaint against their gates or their crossings yet. And I mean, as you say, there's lots of crossings in the municipality that have those. But this is a complaining process. I'm not sure you're the complainer, the other guy is, and I don't care. But I mean, we have to do something at this level to start from. I mean, it's and
that's fair.
And to say you're the first guy or the last guy, I have no idea.
Yeah, that's irrelevant at this point in time. And I mean, that's fine, and it is what it is. So the multiple complaints that we're having are coming from a single party.
And I won't argue about that either.
Okay, so then,
But that single party has standing,
Yeah.
unfortunately for you,
Yeah.
because.
but they already have access. I don't understand why they would have more standing than I
They
would.
don't, they have equal.
Yeah. And
So again, where's my access then? If that's what I'm doing to grant myself access across my own land and I have equal,
But I think it's more the gate or the fence across
It's the
the
gate,
road.
it's the gate,
Is it
it's
your
the gate.
access? I mean, honestly, from my opinion, looking at this map here, it's not the access, it's the gate that closes.
It's across on a municipal road.
Yeah.
so Erickson Clan William told me that gates are fine. If people want to cross, they can open and close the gate.
But it's not on the Erickson,
Yeah, it's not Rosedale.
it's on Rosedale side.
And that wash your hand statement you made a minute ago is,
That's fine for Erickson.
that's right for Erickson. We're Rosedale, we're not Erickson, that's the trouble.
Question, this is a permanent fence, there's no gate there, is that correct? Or
There's
is it-
gates there.
There's a gate
Yeah,
there?
there's always been gates there.
We just need the gate. We really need the gate.
Yeah, I'm just trying to recall.
Remember,
Okay.
So there's
we're
gates.
gonna-
There's gates in 3 directions. There's a gate that going east and west. There's a gate going north and south, and then there's another gate going east and west that comes out of Bonnie. So if you go, I can point out where they all are.
They're indicated on the map.
So, yeah.
The
So we've
orange.
got gates here, there's actually another gate right here, and there's actually another gate right in here. So there's multiple gates, there's gates further down on the other fence line as well, but
Okay, well,
So wouldn't it be just
Well,
to make, well, okay, go ahead, sorry.
well, it's just that we're running out of time
Yeah.
and it's stated in our bylaw, you can get 10 or whatever minutes to.
yeah, no, I appreciate
And
the time.
we've got a lot to do today, so, I mean, we'll have to deliberate on this again. Or see what to do, I guess, but as far as, like Jeff said, going back to standards, we gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, that's fine, I guess, so if that's what we're gonna do, then we're gonna have to draw up some type of a plan as to what your expectations are that's gonna be done.
We
So that
provided
it's
that
gonna
to you in
meet.
October. We want that gate off of Road 97.
That doesn't mean anything to me. You'll write it down on a piece of paper, you'll draw it out on a Google Maps like that, so that we'll know what it is that we're changing. I'm not gonna guess as to what council thinks they want done.
Okay.
You can provide that, and then we can see if that's what everybody thinks is gonna be acceptable.
Okay.
But I don't see there's any point in me guessing on anything.
But I thought that's what you were appealing was the piece of paper, like, that was sent to you based on the decision with the map.
Taking this.
Taking it out. I'm saying, why do I have to remove it if there's a gate there? I'm not restricting anyone's access if there is a gate. And you're telling me that I'm restricting access. That's what the complaint is.
I think that,
My understanding is that the complaint is we're restricting access.
Well, no, the RM has control over all municipal roads and road allowances, and this obstruction was put in without the council's approval. So under the municipal act, by having control and management of the municipal roads, we don't have control and management of the roads because it's an unauthorized gate.
But you're not controlling or managing them anyways. What's the maintenance? What's the maintenance records that have been done to that you're managing that right away? I'm the one managing it. I'm the one that's mowing it. I'm the one that's maintaining the grade. So I guess we can provide those as well.
Like you say, if you just say you're just gonna get into that one to start farming, you never ever asked about that road at all before. You asked about fixing some potholes, which we did a little bit, we sprinkled some bit right in there a few years ago, just so you can get through there. As far as farming, like Dave said, you know, there's no grain land in there. So for, to go check cattle or whatever, I think it's a good enough road, miles.
So what about the grain land that's on 6?
You got access through the yard.
I don't have access through the
Why?
yard, Ron.
Why?
1, the hydro lines are too low and the trees are in the way.
Hydro lines are the north side.
Hydro line crosses right where the municipal gravel ends. You can touch it with our 6150. So how we access that is I come from section 31 is how we get there because I can't get it. I can't get there. I can't get to section 6 down that road lines. I can get to the edge of the property, but I can't access the property. So anyways,
Okay,
I've taken up enough of your time.
thank you.
Thank you very much. And let me know and we'll be chatting and
Yeah.
sort it out.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Hey, who's next?
The public hearing on a conditional use.
Jeff, come on in.
So we need this resolution first.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different.
Okay, we're at 5.2, open public hearings. Here. Seconder. Be it resolved that the council of the RM of Rosedale hereby adjourns the regular meetings of council to enter into a public hearing on this conditional use of CU -001-2026-R at
10:37.
All in favor? Carried.
Standing right there, you kind of got it.
It'd be embarrassing now. Just-
I'll get up the public hearing.
Alright. Now the floor, Jeff.
Alright, we can't keep you out.
I'll hurry up then. So I have application CU 001 2026-R. Owner of the property is Jacques and Simone St. Pierre. Applicant was Jacques St. Pierre. The proposal, it's a conditional use, is requested to allow for the location of a non-farm dwelling within the AG Agricultural General Zone. It is affecting the Northwest 32-17-15 West, specifically being 88-106 Road 102 North. And the reason in support of this application, it's to satisfy subdivision requirements to sever a 5-acre parcel from the noted property.
So one of the things council talked about when we did the first round to get this to where it's at,
Right.
was the restrictions that are on sewage maintenance.
Okay.
But that would be identified through the circulation of environment, right? So if they want to put a holding tank or the field or the et cetera, those items would all be caught by the provincial government, right?
Correct. It's required to have an approved system. I think in this case it had an ejector, which they're removing the ejector and they're putting a field in because the size doesn't meet the 10-acre requirement. So yeah, for that they will be, whoever's getting the work done, or if they do the work themselves, they'll be applying through the province for a permit to get that system approved. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
only-
Wastewater's approved by the province. Yeah.
There is,
Whichever way they go. But
I do have one question. I think if I remember correctly, that piece of property is not exactly squared off. It's a very unique design, I guess. Who develops that and why is that not squared off, or that's?
I don't know. The only thing I noticed a trail running. It notes on the map there's a trail running through there. So
He just follows the trail?
I'm guessing so.
Okay.
Yeah, that the size is designed by owners of the land. Like there's no specific requirements to follow it. So we just look for sizes, right? Minimum set or minimum frontages and minimum sizes or maximum sizes. How that design falls isn't necessarily ours. But the only thing I see is there's a trail through there, and I'm guessing that he wants to maintain that trail on that larger parcel.
Yeah, because.
I don't know what.
Hey? The road's. Trust me, this trail wasn't wrong. Nor was the lines, it wasn't wrong. Just a question, that's all it was.
That's the only thing I
Yeah.
could see why. Yeah,
Other than that, there's nothing.
it's a typical subdivision that we see. It's been circulated to the neighboring property owners,
Okay.
and we received no concerns
Us either.
either way. So, yeah,
All right.
that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Talk to you later.
You bet.
Okay, item 5.2, closing public hearing. Do I have a mover? Jeff Bennett. Seconder. I'm sure. Be it resolved that the council of the RM of Rosedale hereby adjourn the public hearing at
10:40.
40 a.m. and resume into the regular meeting of council. All in favor? Carried. Item 2, council. Assumption. Oh, this is subdivided. Okay, do I have for 5.2 council decision? Do I have a mover? Second. Herbert. There's not 10.
Yeah, Jacques and Simone St.
Zach
Pierre.
St. Pierre of the property legal description as NW 32-17-15 W 88106 Road 102 North, rural municipality of Rosedale has applied to the council for approval to conditional use order
in order to satisfy the subdivision requirements of several 5-acre parcels. Sever. God. My piece. 5-acre parcel to provide for location on an ongoing farm within the agricultural trail zone. Therefore, be it resolved after careful consideration of this application and any representation made for or against it, the Council of the RM of Rosedale and the meeting duly disabled on the 13th of February 2026 approved the said applicant. Further be it resolved that the development agreement is signed within the RM of Rosedale and registered on title. Do I have everybody in favor? Here.
So that's, by my count, that's 5 houses down and 159 to go. To satisfy candidates' requirements by 2030. That's our share of houses.
Well, this is just issues and just subdivide it off, so we do.
My question was, why didn't they just take the propane tanks that are there and go out and buy a new one?
That I don't.
There's two tanks there that went with the steamer.
Well, they didn't use the industrial steamer.
I think this is just a regular
Yeah.
20-pound.
Yeah, that's just the regular tank that they were using to follow the line. And then it didn't get anywhere when you'll see the McCreary plumbing bill.
Yeah. I just wonder why we buy another smaller tank when we got two 40 pounders, I think they are. What are the big camper?
Oh, 30 pounds.
30s? Yeah, well, there's two of them there.
$700. Because when we at home on our propane, we exchanged, you can do the exchange, you don't have to do that with a bigger tank, you don't have to buy it, just pay for propane. I don't know, with the little guys.
They're good for so many years, and it's a 10.
Yes, yeah, they got an inspection date too, and that was the exchange program, you don't worry about.
Yeah.
And all the guy does is screw the valve out, screw new in, and puts a date on it.
Maybe.
See, back to that inspection.
Is it great?
That's all I need. I think you need to have Jeff. You hold his hands.
We lost our beer.
Yeah, we broke that.
When he,
Nice one.
that's the CA.
Well, I never got that one, yeah. Sorry.
It's a tough one because for Jordan in this case, for two municipalities that aren't agreeing on what should be done, and there's that wash your hands scenario there is a call out to me, to be honest.
It seems to be a theme though, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
That's interesting.
It's tough because he's right. It's a very good guy, but we're just
All the blades, cut them up, and weld them on for lights. And
Well,
all
it-
about cheaper, that's $6,000.
Well, like I said before, it's me saying,
presentation.
why are they riding
No, that's the allowance.
on the ground?
Oh,
Yeah, they're just supposed to stop it, go.
I mean, there's snow, but
Just make it on there?
Yeah.
I've been watching several videos and whatnot. Sorry, can't get it into my head why these things are on the ground.
Good morning, everybody. So I'm assuming everybody knows why I'm here. My name's Megan Wyatt Whitaker. I'm a ratepayer in the RM of Rosedale. And I'm here this morning because of a Facebook post that was made on Wednesday, January 21st regarding the closure of the office. Please be advised, I'm reading directly from the post. Please be advised because of tomorrow's forecast and wind chills below -40 all day, the administration in the office in Naperville will be closed. I'm contacting you not only for myself, but on behalf of the multiple taxpayers who were unfairly blocked simply for raising reasonable questions about this post. After the original post was deleted, along with its comments and a follow-up post I made the next morning, it was brought to my attention that myself and multiple other ratepayers of the municipality of Rosedale have been blocked without clear reasoning. Some individuals who simply asked polite questions such as whether the dump or the shops would be closed as well, which received a reply stating that the dump would remain open, however, was going to be too cold for the office to be open that day. Or requested clarification about why the office was closed due to the cold weather while outdoor workers continued working, or even those who just liked to comment were blocked. Meanwhile, others who made more sarcastic remarks were not and have not been blocked. Now those, along with myself, do not have access to what may be valuable, essential, or vital information of ongoings in our municipality. I suppose the argument can be made that there is a website which a person can access for information. However, in doing my due diligence, I did visit the site. However, it did not contain the information that I was looking for, as when I clicked on the Notices and Alerts tab, I was given an error of 404, this page cannot be found. Initially, the information I was looking for was policies and procedures regarding office closures due to inclement weather, as well as policies and procedures regarding the use of social media. However, I could not find any, not even one. There are 0 policies and procedures published to this website. Once again, I did my due diligence and I came into Neepawa on the morning of January 22nd when it was meant to be, or said to be, too cold to open the office, and did see that in fact it was open, and by calling the office confirmed that there were staff there. My question is, where was the Facebook post about that? All those who initially saw the original post were left to assume it was closed. Keep in mind, it was not too cold for me to physically inquire if the office was open, or that yes, the dump was open as well as the RM shops, and also it was not too cold for school buses to run that day. That being said, if it's warm enough for the school buses to run and deemed safe enough to transport children, then it's warm enough and safe enough for adults to transport themselves to work. Had the municipality of Rosedale not made the post, or made the post and turned off the comment section, or just closed the office for the day, or even had someone work from home that day, no one would have probably even noticed. But because yes, it was cold that day, and unless you had important business to attend to at the office or had to go to work like many of us still had to, you weren't going out. But the fact that the poster replied that the dump would be open while it was too cold for the offices to be open essentially opened a can of worms it was not prepared to deal with or defend. Although the post was published and made public to users of its page, when ratepayers questioned the decision, the poster chose to delete the comments instead of turning them off or ignoring them. The decision was not defended and nothing was said. Instead of maintaining the post and its decision, the entire post was taken down by the following morning in what can only be assumed as an attempt to sweep under the rug, so to speak. And no announcement was made the following day regarding the office's decision to remain open. So my questions are, who decided and allowed for only the office to be closed that day? Where and what are the policies regarding office closures due to weather? What guidelines and policies govern social media use and what types of content may be posted? Who is responsible for the Rosedale Municipality Facebook? And why is it set up as a friend request page? When really it should be a business page. Having it set up as a friend request page also allows for the administrator of the Facebook page to see all of its friends about information, which is why business Facebook pages were set up, as a person's about information should not be viewable by a business page if properly set up. Also, by setting up a business page, it allows for more than one administrator of the page, which clearly is necessary so that the posts have to be approved by more than one administrator and deletions have to be approved by the administrators, not by one person who is taking personal offense to a post they initially made. And when will those who have been unfairly blocked on the current Facebook page be unblocked? My recommendations are the website Notices and Alerts tab needs repair. The website should contain published policies and procedures. A new Facebook business page should be created with more than one admin person, one from the office, 1 or 2 from council to approve any and all posts made. Social media training for staff and council members, and for the time being, unblock who have been blocked until a business page is made. Thank you for your time. I hope my efforts have been worthwhile. that my questions will be addressed and my suggestions thoughtfully considered.
Can I get a copy of that?
Yeah, for sure.
Like the question? So I go back to the wall.
Yeah, there's copies of that, and there's also copies of the poster question and any of the posters.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess with that being said and everything, I'll take full responsibility for the office part of it. When Jordan asked me if he could work from home that day because it was going to be cold those 2 days, it's being cold. This should have been explained a lot better than what it was. Let's go right from the start.
100%.
I agree with you 100%. This is totally my fault. I made a big mistake. I'll take all the responsibility for that. When he asked me to stay and work from home, I said I didn't think this would be such a big deal. My apology will be to council, to all of you guys, that I didn't let council know. I didn't think it was such a big ordeal. I will truly take that blame for that.
And it wouldn't have been a huge deal, wouldn't have even been
No.
a deal had it been said staff will be working from home that day, you know, anything like that. But
I
then
know.
when you find out that staff who are working in an office were taking the day off because it's too cold,
Yeah.
but yet our faithful dump operator was open, the RM shops were open, they're working outside, like, that made zero sense, and that's why a lot of people question
was
it.
asked that you could stay home if you wanted.
And that's fair too, that's fair too.
Can I ask
But
a
when-
question really quick? I'm sorry, because you brought up a couple things. So, because the office staff isn't unionized, they don't have the same protections as the fellows in the union. But if
Do you mind if I just close?
if somebody
Sure, go ahead.
if somebody calls out for work because they don't want to drive it from Erickson, if they don't think that it's safe for them to drive, or they don't like, are we firing them? Like,
No,
is-
we just don't pay them for that day.
Okay, so if somebody doesn't want to come in for a reason, are we explaining that to anybody? Or is that like an in-house policy where, like, on Facebook, are we going to say, so-and-so from the office called in sick today because they had this and this wrong with them? Or so-and-so couldn't come to work today because their car broke down? Like, are we actually posting that kind of information about staff relations?
No, but when a post is being made that the office is going to be closed without any further clarification other than it's too cold, there's no reasonable expectation that if somebody called in sick, we're going to put that on Facebook.
Right.
But
What if the office is closed?
if the office is closed, that should be put on. Same with, it should be put on the RM of Rosedale website. That's not on there either. So the issue is that it was put on there, and when people asked reasonable questions to make it make sense, instead of either posting it and not turning on the comment section, which would have gotten rid of half of the problem,
Yeah.
posting it with greater clarification of working from home, again, would have got rid of half of the problem. It was the way that the post was made, it was the way that questions were answered on the post, then the post deleted. Then, when I asked a simple question the next day saying, seeing as the post has been deleted, does this mean that the office will be open? That post was eventually deleted later throughout the day. And then it was brought to my attention that myself, as well as several other ratepayers, have also been blocked from the Facebook page. That's where it really started to take.
Absolutely.
That's where it really started to take and kind of snowball into, you know, like, this has not been handled well at all.
I think we can maybe all learn from this, is maybe a real good learning moment.
Which is one of my suggestions, that, you know, social media training, social media policy going forward, you know, that's why I put in my questions and I put in my requests and suggestions that, you know, this was not handled well, and not only was it not handled well from the initial post, but it just kept snowballing to where now you have ratepayers who are blocked from a Facebook page. And
Right.
and for what?
Well, yeah. That I can't, well, I guess the negativity of what
Yeah, I think historically the RM used to have a business page, but around 2019 or so, they went to this friend page thing.
Which, yeah, how or why that change was made in 2019, I can't comment on. But knowing the way business pages operate, like I said, it's more transparency. You have administrators, you have more than one person posting, you have more than one person who's watching the page and making decisions for the page. This was just completely deleted, ignored, deleted again, and then blocked.
And I think following up on yours, like a learning experience, like this is solidified for me. Like the big takeaway for me that I learned from this is just how poisonous Facebook is in modern social media. And I just, everything about it, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Right from you didn't word this right to this person. And my takeaway from all of that is that we shouldn't have a Facebook page, and we shouldn't be supporting Mark Zuckerberg and his billions in any way, shape, or form. We shouldn't be driving engagement on social media. We should be doing a professional, comprehensive website that we manage and maintain in conjunction with Ken Waddell and whatnot, and Access Television, and that's what we should be supporting. Is everything local, but taking the lessons from that, like clear, comprehensive communication, but nothing on Facebook. We should delete that Facebook page and never look back. It's just social media is poison, and that's all I'm going to say on that topic.
I totally agree with you. I think I don't speak for all councils, but I think Megan, you made some very good points and details, and like I said, it's something we can take that and massage it and maybe learn from that.
Definitely,
Is that fair?
100%. And that's all you know what, I wanted it brought to the attention and, just brought to light that it wasn't handled properly. Like
Right from the start.
right from the
me,
start. And if it had
apologize.
even been, saying that like the staff, the RM staff or the shop staff, the dump staff have been given the option, they've chosen not to. Again, we don't need to go into that great of detail.
Right.
But if we're gonna put a bid out there and not defend that, then we do need to go into deal.
Which we've seen, right?
Yeah.
Just in a second.
So thank you for your time.
Well, thank you so much for bringing that to our attention, and
Hoping to see some improvements to the webpage.
well, hopefully this never happens again, or I will know how to handle it a lot better.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, that's
One thing I do agree with you.
Happens every now and then.
I have absolutely nothing to do with that. Facebook.
I
And I got in trouble, not because of being on Facebook. I got my information by Texas,
Oh, okay.
that people saw that on Facebook, that
Yeah.
go on Facebook all the time. They were pretty upset.
Well, it was Jamie that told me, because I don't even know how to get onto our webpage to tell you the truth.
But a thing like that, Carl, I think what should happen, you should just make a mass
Text.
text
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah, I know.
What's your opinion? That's why CAO
Oh, yeah,
and I
I take
had some
full-
disagreements.
Okay,
I wasn't informed, I didn't know anything about it.
social media, do you have a mover? We have another. Okay. Earl Burton, we have another.
We're gonna exciting day, Carl, we gotta keep moving.
I'll second it.
I'm waiting for lunch.
Be it reserved that the RM of Rosedale accept the exception of delegation made by Megan Whitmore. All in favor? Carried. Okay, let's do our next delegation in here, please.
Oh, yeah.
Just get along.
No.
Yes.
This is different.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, there you go.
Who's gonna time them?
Don't do that.
Everybody in favor?
Yeah.
Negotiation.
Everyone.
Morning.
Earl,
Hey, Carter.
Larry Johansson, Mayor City of Selkirk. Casey McGrath from the and on the board.
Hi there, I'm Jordan. I'm the CEO.
Yeah, Casey.
I sent that message to Chris yesterday. I got quite a bit of flack from him.
I just do Would you like us to pull the
There you go. Yeah. Make yourself. I thought we said go. Oh, you want it? Okay, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, Jeff.
I said I never met a camera or a microphone I didn't like.
All right. Did you want to switch seats? So you can...
Thank you.
It's just the presentation plus another sheet.
Good, thank you.
Best of like paper.
How was your meeting so far?
Pretty good so far?
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Uh,
Yep. Thanks for going.
Once a week?
Well, once a month.
Once a month? Okay. Do you do committee and council or?
No, we follow the recommendations of your CAO. We all went to breakout sessions at the convention.
At the convention, amen? Yeah, that's good.
You can keep this one.
Okay.
Casey, you can keep that too.
Okay. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Perfect. I don't know if people had a chance to look at the package, but basically we're going to use that to kind of guide some of the conversations. We've been out talking to landowners for
We've got like 10, 12 months now. Yeah.
so we're at a point where I'm sure you guys are hearing rumors that we're out talking to landowners, so we wanted to come talk to you about the project. There's obviously lots more to do on the project, but we wanted to share with you what our plans were, get feedback on how the best way to approach the community, things we should be thinking about, and sort of set the stage on future studies and things that you'd want to see going forward. I can start maybe some introductions from our team here. So I'll start with myself. So I'm from Renewable Energy Systems, RES, RES, whatever you want to call us. My name and Brian Hodder. So I'm the development manager. So I look after projects from initially siting them, where do we want to look for projects, through to doing the environmental studies, working with our lands manager to sign up lands, looking at the business case, submitting it to RFPs, and then eventually turning it over to our construction team to work through the construction process. I've worked on projects in renewables, BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Ontario.
Well, I'm Casey. I'm the land guy for RES. I work in tandem with Brian. I typically go out under Brian's direction, meet with the landowners, get the proposals out, get the general sentiment of the landowners, and see if the area is viable for acquisition. I got to tell you, the landowners in this area are great. The sentiment has been very positive. Over the last 10 months, I've had the pleasure of meeting lots of them, and they got me on text as well. And I've been with RES for about 4 years, previously with other renewable companies. Primarily, I'm a professional landman or land agent in Alberta for 20 years working for oil and gas, and then I switched over to renewables in 2016. And my territory spans from Manitoba all the way to BC. And I guess what I bring to the table is when we're going from development with Brian and we are successful in bidding a project and we win a project, when we're talking with landowners and commitments and so forth, that seamless approach with RES happens with me because I stay with the project from development into construction support into final cleanup. So when landowners have issues, they come to me, we get them resolved quickly, and that's kind of how we keep supporting each other throughout the life cycle of development.
Mayor Larry Johansson, Mayor City of Selkirk. I was also in management at Canada Safeway and ultimately Empire Foods for 42 years. It's my 20th year in politics. I'm not 100. I did 10 years double duty. I had one 4-year term as councillor, and I've had 4 terms as mayor. And we all get our job review pretty soon. And it's good to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. Ty Kushner. I'm manager of partnerships at the MMF, and currently my work is supporting the government's renewable energy efforts. And one of them is the project we'll be discussing today. I have a history in commercial lending, so I was at World Bank for about 5 years prior to this role, and very excited to be here meeting with you folks.
I should say too, I'm an MMF citizen on the board, the Power Corporation board.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah. So maybe what I'll do is I'll give a bit of an intro on the MMF. So the Manitoba Métis Federation is not just a nonprofit organization or a community group, but the democratically elected national government of the Red River Métis. We have our central kind of administrative office in Winnipeg, our home office, but our authority is really rooted in our cabinet and led by 22 members and led by President David Chartrand, but a cabinet of 22 members. Our structure ensures that our decision making is especially with partnerships and the other groups that we work with is backed by clear democratic mandate from our people. Our government is not centralized but deeply local. We represent 7 districts in ensuring that no citizens are left behind. It's a key pillar of our Infinity Women's Secretariat as well, which ensures a gender balanced perspective in our policy making and economic planning. We have offices in Brandon, Portage la Prairie, and we serve over 3,800 citizens in the Southwest region. Our locals make us provide a grassroots group that helps guide our regional decision making. And the MMF is a major driver of Manitoba's prosperity. We've had a proven track record of moving beyond consultation into active commercial ventures and business partnerships. And we focus on sustainable growth that supports both urban and rural economies. We're really excited to be here, really excited to be meeting with you folks. Maybe I'll pass it to Mayor.
Yeah, I can just do a little bit on the Power Corporation itself. So it was launched in October 2024. The Red River Métis Power Corporation is one of 14 affiliate companies of the Manitoba Métis Federation, operating across a wide range of industries and sectors. Its mandate is to develop, hold a majority ownership stake in, and operate high-quality alternate energy infrastructure, beginning with a major wind project right here in Manitoba. This work is expected to generate stable, long-term revenues for the Red River Métis government, but also create local jobs, both during construction and operations. It'll support skills training and open new contracting opportunities for all Métis-owned businesses and above. Through the Red River Métis Corporation, the Red River Métis are not simply just hosting energy projects on their homeland. We're stepping forward as builders, owners, and enduring partners in Manitoba's clean energy future. We know that Manitoba's demand for clean energy is growing, and the Red River Métis are choosing to be at this table, helping to meet that demand with responsible, renewable power. Projects like this strengthen local economies, support small and medium-sized Métis businesses, and keep more of the economic benefits in our communities instead of flowing out of the province. This partnership model demonstrates what economic reconciliation looks like in practice: real ownership, shared decision-making, and long-term benefits for Red River Métis families and future generations. By investing in wind energy today, we're helping to protect our environment, honoring our responsibility as stewards of the land, and contributing to a cleaner, more reliable energy system for all Manitobans. And as I drove in yesterday, I couldn't believe the progress that's being made here. The new builds, we stayed in that beautiful Best Western hotel last night. We ate at the Boston Pizza. But with projects like this that will hopefully come here, we'll fill that Best Western hotel. We'll bring more restaurants here. There'll be more industry here. There'll be more housing options here. This is how communities build. This is how they grow. This is how they survive. And I think we'll be making history. And hopefully all of you, and I know I feel proud to be at the table while we make this history together. Thank you.
Good. So we should build the Best Western in Eden at
Hey, you know what? You're probably going to build another one.
So a little bit about Res. So we've been around 40 years. Started off in the UK. 40 years is a long time in the renewable energy space. I came from oil and gas. 40 years wasn't a long time in that space in renewable energy biz. Been in Canada for 20 years. Our business model is to develop, construct, and operate projects. So that's different than some other renewable energy companies that don't have a construction arm. Having control over the construction allows us to make commitments now and make sure they're carried out. They're not carried out by some third party. It's under our own home view. We've constructed projects pretty much from coast to coast. We wrapped up a big solar project in Alberta last year. We're going to start another one again this year in Alberta. We've got two projects under construction in Nova Scotia. We have projects under development in Ontario, Quebec, Newfoundland. We just finished construction of the Beck of our wind project in Saskatchewan. So we have a presence in Canada. We're one of the largest. We like to call ourselves the largest independent renewable energy company in the world, and we have a lot of presence in Canada and sophistication. So we're also involved in not only like the spectrum of development of projects, but we also do wind, solar, battery storage, and transmission. So we have a wide variety of different skill sets. In Canada, our office is based out of Montreal. So we have sort of our central functions there, and then we have offices in Calgary as well as Toronto, and then we have people spread out across the country. We also have our own engineering that happens in-house. That allows also like the development, construction, and engineering to work together. So, as we're talking about things in the field, saying like, hey, from the landowner, maybe we should bring the road in from one side, we can quickly communicate that to engineering and change those things. It's not throwing it over the fence for someone else to do. That makes us be more responsive to the feedback from the communities. What I think you guys should care about or will care about is what does it mean for a renewable energy project to be in a community? There's a lot of benefits that come with it. There's a large tax revenue that will come with the facility once it's operating. We'll work towards doing a property tax assessment, so we can give you some numbers to sort of think about what it would mean. But we've seen in other communities that it's meaningful in terms of the budget. We put that towards road maintenance or whatever's important to the community center. Putting a screen in here, maybe. There's also payments to landowners, which are significant. So there's a payment for the option to be able to lease the project should it be successful. There's lease payments that cover the use of the property, and then there's shared benefits through the revenue of the project. So there's significant revenue that comes to the landowners and diversification of income through that. When a project moves, if it's successful through the Manitoba Hydro process and it goes into construction, it also brings a lot of construction jobs with it, which we pull from like local labor, as well as some sort of specialty trades from outside of the region, and then continues into the operations of the project. So there is about 10 jobs long-term past the construction, and those are high-paying local jobs that will continue through the 30 years of the project life. There's also contracting opportunities that comes with that. So catering, snow clearing, other civil works for as part of maintenance that would come through both the construction and the operations period of the project. But really, once the project moves into operations, it's not a heavy burden in terms of like municipal requirements. You know, it's you're talking 10 people plus some contractors and some occasional heavier work. But it's not for the revenue that comes in compared to the resources and time once it's operating. It's a low lift for the municipality. There's also a lot of local spend that comes with the project. We hear positive feedback when we work with other communities about it bringing in spend at the restaurants, spend at the hotels, spend on goods through the life of the project.
I have a question. How does that deal with the district planning with these towers? Do they have to take permits out for every tower?
Every tower, I didn't think about that. Well, they're not actually gonna get a building permit, they get a development permit.
Oh,
So,
development, okay.
It would be, I don't know, we would look at each parcel of land and then itemize how many are on each parcel of land.
Okay.
That probably be the easiest way to say it,
Okay. No, it's one question.
Typically, we've seen just one development permit
Right.
for the whole project.
Well, I get that. No, I just didn't know how that was. Because I'm probably gonna get housed.
Yeah.
No. All right, we'll open the floor and let Jeff fly.
Am I going to ask questions now?
Yeah, go ahead.
He's been down swamping us at the bid this for
Start the timer.
I only have a surface understanding of some of the issues, so I wanted you to kind of give me some real world. So I read recently an Narwhal article talking about how Alberta's like basically turned their back on renewables with that moratorium they did a year ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
My impression that I get is that once they reverse that, you guys are going to drop us like a hot potato, and everybody's flocking back to Alberta, where everything's perfect. So that's my first serious concern, is that there's going to be a lot of hype and drama, and then Alberta's going to get the money in 3 years' time. So can you address that?
I sure can. So I'm from Alberta.
Yes.
Res is large enough that we can work in multiple jurisdictions. The business case in Manitoba is different than Alberta. So in Manitoba, it's a regulated market. So we've signed a power purchase agreement, should we be successful, with Manitoba Hydro, and it's a guaranteed revenue per megawatt hour delivered. So for every part of energy that we deliver, we get paid for it. In Alberta, it's a merchant market, so you sell power into a pool, or you sign contracts with an off-taker, which is like an industry or something like that that usually has a load in the province. My personal view is that even if Alberta said they want to continue the wind development, so they had the wind moratorium and they've gone through changes in the regulatory process through that, but they've also been reforming the power markets and the transmission markets, and that is impacting investor sentiment in the power industry, from not just renewables, but we're hearing that from thermal generators as well. And I think there's going to be, even if they decided tomorrow they wanted to introduce more generation, I think people are going to be hesitant to invest in the province, in the power sector for the next number of years, if it's not serving their own load. So I think that there's not going to be an immediate draw for investment for renewables in Alberta. And even if there was, there's enough investment dollars globally that would go into a secure power purchase agreement that it wouldn't make people turn away from an opportunity in Manitoba.
I think a simpler answer too is there's a contract with Manitoba Hydro as the customer. And Manitoba Hydro has more lawyers than their citizens in Nipowa. So you cannot break that contract.
And then my next question I'm just going down the list, so these are kind of random. So with the EU putting more focus on wind power and renewables, and China doing their thing with their, I'm going to call them those brand new ones that got aloft, and they're leading edge, and we're playing catch up. just as you're trying to ramp up a project here, there's going to be that sticker shock, that price shock, and there's going to be some inflation. Where are you getting all of your turbines from? Where are you getting the actual products from? How expensive is it going to be? And how sensitive are you to those price increases in terms of whether this goes ahead?
It's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things going on in the market. And I would say predominantly tariffs are the thing that people are talking about the most in terms of price sensitivity. It doesn't seem to be demand based, is what I'm seeing. As far as this procurement goes, people build in when we go to put in a price to Manitoba Hydro, we will look at the risks because you're a corporation and need to protect our investments, and we'll put in the amount that we think covers those usually tariff risks, and then we're held to that price. I think it's a $6 million security when we sign the contract, and if we decided we weren't going to build it and walked away sometime during engineering, then we would be on the hook for $6 million. You guys wouldn't be on the hook. You don't pay for the cost increases. That would be on us.
Maybe just to add to as well, the MF has been in conversations with manufacturers already and starting to bring folks in to kind of understand what their capacity is, their ability to deliver on a project of this size too. And we've already started forecasting what costs could change and how that could affect the economics of the project. And we're still comfortable with moving forward.
And then in terms of like life cycle, so you talked about a 30-year project, what's based on current technology, what you're going to get, like what's the waste management plan at the end of the 30 years? Because we're looking at $1 million landfills now by the sounds of it. So what's your recycling options, repurposing options for the end of life turbines and towers? I don't really nacelles.
The towers are made of steel, so they're easily recycled. They're actually sold for scrap. So there's revenue that comes in with that. A lot of the equipment in the nacelle, like the transformer, can be broken down and reused. So there's a lot of equipment through there. The blades, worldwide, they're working at processes to use those. They're very degree of maturity. So sometimes they can break them up and use them in other materials. Sometimes they're landfilled, but that would be a cost to the company to deal with those and ship them off to an appropriate facility.
So we've got a steel mill in Selkirk, the Dow Steel Mill, and employs 550 people with the affiliate companies also. But we're hoping that we'll be able to supply some of that steel. And right now, we can't get enough recycled steel. So I'm hoping that in 30 years, they'll be selling that steel back and making a tidy profit on it. That will again benefit the region.
Can I keep asking questions? So you've got in here about like the battery storage and storage and whatnot. Like my dream. My dream is that one of the things I find that I'm most impressed with, or the things that I like about Manitoba, is the fact that there is a Métis nation. You're going to have the MMF, you've got the Red River Métis, and I wish that we were more ambitious, not always lagging behind. So I really like you guys to set the world on fire here. I would love to see modular nuclear reactors. I'd love to see large-scale industrial solar. I'd love to see battery storage here, because we have all this amazing Manitoba hydro infrastructure. It just seems like we're taking it for granted, and now we're at the end of that road, right? Like we just talked about before you got here, about rivers are starting to run dry. Mm-hmm. We just went to the Watershed District Conference and prepare for droughts. Yeah. And I think that if you guys are going to do this, I really wish that you would do it big. Like we have, I'm going to call them brownfield sites. Like it would be crazy not to have a large-scale solar project tagged onto transmission line built to these things. So what's the plan?
Yeah, I mean, and from day one, President Chartrand's reiterated that this is project number one, right? Like we have a vested interest in a long-term energy future as the Manitoba Métis Federation. We've led by example to date in different retrofits in our kind of corporate offices and different buildings across the province in terms of solar projects and whatnot. So there's definitely a desire to continue down. at Energy Path. We're obviously working with a really competent and strong partner, but at the same time working to build competencies within the government so that we can, move forward on future projects on our own potentially, right? And whether it's direct to industry, more provincial energy, right? So to your point, there's a desire internally as well to do this big.
And I share your feelings with this. And this is a big reason why I was so pleased and honored to be asked to be on this board. In the city of Selkirk, we take this seriously. We have our rec center is one of the largest in Manitoba. I think we were third or fourth. We have the largest rooftop solar application. So we're completely off the grid. We have geothermal. We've got electric vehicles. We're not looking at 2050 in the city of Selkirk to be net zero. We promise to have all our buildings off the grid and all our vehicles either hybrid or electric by 2030. And that's 4 years from now. So this is right up our alley. And I believe in it personally, and I believe in this company and the MMF and the board that we are doing the right thing. And I see the future in it, as I think you're hoping to see the future in it. I think we're going to be there.
There's the project that's on the west coast of Newfoundland, like on the Port Peninsula, and where we're going to do hydrogen, we're going to crack this, we're going to do a huge project, then it got scaled back. So that's again my other real world test here. Is there any idea of using some excess power to do hydrogen? Because I know they're making, they have that small scale hydrogen in the converter station, but is there plans to ramp that up? Or is that just a step too far?
That would be outside of this procurement. So this procurement would be signed with Manitoba Hydro, so they would take the power, and it would, at their discretion, what they use it for, sort of across the province. Could there be? There are discussions in the province that I heard rumors of, with industrials working with wind developers for different solutions. But it wouldn't be this project. This project is specifically, at this point,
Just
towards Manitoba Hydro.
We've had discussions with Charbot from the city, green hydrogen energy, and I don't think it's around the corner, but I think it's definitely coming. I'm hoping that my grandkids, when they pull up to a gas station, there may be 3 gasoline pumps, and there'll be a fast charger, and there'll be a green hydrogen, where you can fill up also. I think that's the future. I really do.
And then the next one is migratory bird issues, because we're right on the edge of pothole country. But we're already watching bird populations plummet. We're watching all that kind of stuff. So in this area that you're talking about, we're kind of off the main pathways, but there's still going to be lots of snow geese and whatnot. So what's the impact, the real world impact there on birds?
Yeah. So we do, as part of the EA environmental approvals process, we would do migratory bird surveys, and that's counting birds, looking at stopover points, and then we work to site turbines away from those key corridors. And we worked through the Manitoba environmental approvals process to make sure that they had done reviews of our studies and were in agreement with it.
I've heard a couple people say they'd signed on before, they talked about signing on before, and then some of the councillors were here before that, because this is the second go around within living memory. So there's a little bit of I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
So how believable is this?
We think it is. Manitoba's come out there, starting the process to procure 600 megawatts of 3 projects. We think this project is competitive. The wind resource, enough there is windy. So we think it's going to be a competitive project. I'm not sure who the developer was before, but Res has experience being competitive in these procurements as a corporation. MMF is our partners here. They're serious about this investment. It is competition, but we think that we're in a good position for this to move forward.
Yeah, and I guess I'm out there talking to a lot of landowners and that kind of as well. It's like, what's the difference, right? Like now there's policy and there's movement supported by the government now, and we have willing landowners. Previously, from what I understand, these other companies, they were speculating before there was policy to support projects moving forward, right? And some of these landowners went through a couple different cycles of optioning their lands and then termination, optioning their land. So there was a bit of hesitancy, but once I explained the support we have from Manitoba Hydro and how they've outlaid the guidelines for this procurement, they felt way more comfortable coming on side of that.
The province needs the power, right? We're running out of energy as a province, right? So it's Hydro has an absolute vested interest in this procurement going forward, and I'm hopeful that we're going to be one of the projects that we pick.
And then you mentioned it, but I didn't quite understand what you said. Like how, I'm just talking actual money now.
Yeah.
What will the RM see as actual tangible benefit? I wasn't sure how the assessment.
It'll be a
property
linear
tax.
assessment, right?
You guys are,
I need to do, we will bring in a consultant to do the study. I looked, but I'm in no position to wait.
Yes, because usually with assets like that, they're different than houses, right? So then their value is different, and they're usually subject to a different type of assessment and taxation. It's common in municipalities where there's natural gas. The natural gas line is assessed, but it has a linear assessment because it's so much different than a house. And I'm presuming the windmills would kind of follow the same path as the underground natural gas lines or other kind of linear assessment items.
Would the landowner themselves see their assessment go up?
Well, aren't you sectioning off the line and becoming owners?
so just from experience alone, when we develop projects on landowners' lands and their taxes, their agricultural taxes do typically go up, we try to understand what that cost is and maybe have engagement with the RM or counties beforehand. So the increases that are attributable to our project are billed to us rather than the landowner seeing it. Now, this doesn't always happen in the first year. We've had it, that process kind of get a little bit muddled at the beginning, where the landowners have seen the increase, and we always tell the landowners to pay their increases, knowing that res is on the hook for paying them back anyways until we get things resolved. But there's many linear taxes. When I did oil and gas, midstream stuff, the linear tax on pipelines are easy. It could be 20 cents a foot or meter or whatever. With renewables, we do have underground cables, but we have siloed turbines all over the place, and we've heard different ways of assessment, and I'm curious to find out how you guys end up assessing it, for sure.
That would be better hands by Jennifer Brown, or assessment, or assessor. I would have been in Dosa than anybody, but there are ratepayers even who have like cell phone towers on their property, and it's the same deal. They're encouraged by the company to pay it, and then they reclaim it, and I had to break it down on the tax bill. Okay, well, this is how much the cell phone tower is out of your tax bill for them to go after the owner of the actual infrastructure after.
Are the cell towers on a separate roll number, or are they part of the parcel?
Now almost part of the parcel.
Part of the parcel.
What's good about this investment too is the ROI on it. You got good return on investment. You don't have to shovel a street. You don't have to have a grader out there. You don't have to cut grass in a park. You just got to sit back and munch some of it.
Yeah. The landowners may ask for a lot more later.
And my last question is, we were just before you got here, was the noise concern. You hear lots of people talking about the noise. I've never stood beside one to actually listen to it.
Yeah.
So what are the concerns there?
So the turbines do make a noise, right? They're a generator. They've got blades that go spin around. There are requirements for sound levels at receptors, so that's like any place a person lives. Often it's like key like parks and whatnot. So what we do is we design the layout and model the sound at all the receptors. So last time we were here a month ago, we drove around and mapped out every house. So we run all these models, and the turbine placement considers the noise at that house. And it's usually it's about like
40 decibels. So we I think we're looking for some clarification on noise in Manitoba, but we have best practices that we've seen in different provinces, and so we're taking our best practices and applying it initially to this project. So typically we look for at a receptor that the sound levels below 40 decibels on a quiet evening. That's kind of what we look at. That could mean a turbine can be set back 500 meters, 800 meters, or completely off that quarter. So that's the kind of modeling that we're going to be probably running until we get some clarification from through our CANWIA, which is our association that we belong to.
Just for some info, when I spoke at that public hearing in Clanwilliam Erickson, the Western Canadian area wanted to put that airstrip in. So 60 flights a day, and on takeoff, those air tractors are 105 decibels.
So right now, this is probably 50 or 60 decibels, that sound right there. So when I'm sitting with a landowner in their kitchen, and it's a newer kitchen, not an older kitchen, and the fridge kicks on the refrigerator, and you're sitting in a room, you can kind of hear that little bit of hum in the background. That's what I typically see as 40 decibels. But we're very cognizant of sound and setbacks from receptors and landowners.
And that'd be the sound that you hear when you're outside.
Outside, on the deck.
On a windy day.
Yeah.
With it blowing, the wind blowing towards you. So
It's your worst case scenario.
Yeah.
We already talked all about the future stuff. What about present day stuff? Public consultations, you got is there a time period when you're thinking of doing that?
Yeah, so kind of jump to the next slide here. Right now, so Manitoba Hydro announced this procurement. They've kind of they originally thought they were going to write to an RFP, and then they went through this qualification process. So we put in our documentation to qualify for the procurement. If it comes out in that procurement, they're going to send the request for proposals to the successful companies in March. So we would like to finish that qualification process and get the documents from them so we make sure we understand all the requirements. And then we'd like to have an open house with the community so we talk about all these things, talk about the environment, talk about benefits, talk about sound, provide the location of the project to the community. So right now we're thinking that is around April. Ideally, we'd like that to be in March before seeding, but I think it's really going to depend on the timing of Manitoba Hydro. What we've done in the past for an open house, and we look for feedback. Maybe this is something we can talk about later. Is we've put ads in the local newspaper. Sometimes there's an RM Facebook page, saying there's going to be this meeting in 3 weeks at a community center. We'll have our team there, plus we'll have our engineers. We'll have third-party experts there that can answer questions better than I can on specific issues. And people can come in. We'll have some boards up there that provide information for the project. We'll have a big map out on the table so we can kind of point and say, we're here. Here's where we have a house. Have we missed something there? Is there an important feature that we should be thinking about? People will be able to provide that feedback to us. We can go away, look at how we can consider that in the project. Usually our project, it's on the next slide here, but we start as here's a windy area with transmission, and then we learn some things, we get a little bit better idea of the project. We learn some more things, get a little bit better idea of the project, and it keeps getting refined all the way through the process. So this initial open house where we show the land and maybe where the turbines are potentially going to go, that will not be the project, I can guarantee that. But we'll solicit that feedback, change it, learn some more from environmental, change it, continue to work through the permitting process, change it, and sort of it's an evolving process through that.
Important to have as many O2 for that as you can, because let them ask the questions, see the flip charts, so they have the information that they need. And I think it would be a lot easier even around this table if there's bylaws or variances or whatever that has to come to it. They'll have already gotten a lot of the information that they would be wanting.
Is there any thoughts on how you would like to see engagement go in the RM?
I think we should have an open house meeting at the Eaton Hall. We have
that's what I was.
Just my suggestion.
In terms of radius, like, so when we, in other provinces and so forth, some of the counties and RMs set out, if we have a boundary of our project, they will say mail out to all landowners within 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers of your boundary and so forth, or any interested parties that could be affected by the development of your project. So, you know, like if you have a school that's on the west side of the project and a school bus running through the project area all the time, we might want to just as a special interest, invite the school board and get their input. You know, our construction guys are very engaged with all this stuff as well. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of how we kind of formulate our consultation radius and who we send these notices out to, so they can come and attend these open houses, which will be attended by our subject matter experts.
Yeah. No, that's what I was thinking. Eden would probably be the best site for that. The Eden Hall. And then send out, you can say it on the newspaper or whatever, or letters, whatever.
With that, this also has to go as a conditional use to landowners as part of their application process. It would be after your open house, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Would be typically, right? So at some point, this will be coming to council for approval process as well.
Right.
Right? So.
Right. Well, the same as it'll come to this report to review, right?
Yeah, right.
Like we usually.
Yeah, like I said, they would apply on these parcels of land.
Yeah.
Our process would identify in circulation, giving neighboring landowners the opportunity to speak to council on that too, so.
Right.
So that open house is a very important aspect of it. I just so council's aware, because I mean, there will be that approval process for them to make throughout the application side of it, yeah.
And that's where they highlighted on slide 12, they're interested in seeking a bylaw amendment to the zoning bylaw. What are your thoughts towards that, Jeff?
I would say we were not, I don't know if we hadn't decided if it was an amendment or a variance, but
Yeah.
something.
I think we briefly spoke on that too, and I said, this is pretty new to me. I actually commented about 2 weeks before this group engaged, and I said, you know what? I said, I don't even know why we have this in our zoning bylaw, and then all of a sudden this comes up. Great thing we have this in our zoning bylaw. And we spoke on that, and I said, this is this is pretty new. Like, I mean, we haven't dealt with many of this. So I said, to me, doing an amendment to change it for this proposal without having information, whether even the information we have in our zoning bylaw, we don't even know if it's accurate because we've never had to apply it.
Right.
Right? Like, so we don't even know if this is really right until we've actually used it and find out, well, you know what, this wasn't the best thing to have, or you know what, this is great. So my recommendation is this is variation at the start, right? Before we start amending our zoning bylaw, unless council has a very strong feeling towards wind energy, and then we can dive into what other areas have, and we can consider what other areas have for their zoning, and then go down that route.
Right.
And what's the estimated timeline on a variance on a project like this?
Well, variation we would probably hold at the same time as the conditional use, so we can, depending on how it applies and how it, within the month of application, typically we would have it to council usually, right? Right. Whereas the zoning amendments were fastest, were probably 3 months, if we're happy with what we're bringing to the table to approve, right? So, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
All right. Any more questions or? More for you guys to go through?
Do you want me to keep walking through the deck?
Get it done.
What did we talk about? We talked about 3 projects. We talked about currently Manitoba Hydro has said they're looking for this project. They call it commercial operation date, so it means like operating between 2030 and 2032. We just have a schedule in here of what that might look like if we're hitting the 2030 date. So we started auctioning land last year.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so hypothetically, if we can I go to the screen? Okay. So if we won at the end of this year, we get notice that we qualified, we put in our bid through Brian, and we win this project. 2027 would be a lot of engineering, a lot of costs, ordering, and so forth. Construction would start for a 200 megawatt project would take us 2 years or 2 seasons to construct. So if we started at the beginning of 2028, like typically we start with the laydown yard. It's the first thing we put in. I would go in February, March is the laydown yard. Mobilizing all the construction offices and contractors, and then we construct through that whole summer. In our process, we construct a certain amount of pads in one summer, and then in the winter of that first year, we'd have our crane on site hanging turbines. Meanwhile, the next crew is gearing up for the next set of turbines, and typically 2 seasons of construction to get to our COD, and then after COD, then there's probably 3 to 6 months worth of remediation or cleanup with the landowner.
COD is
Commercial operations date. So the date that Brian will put in his agreement that we are adhering to, that we're going to be energized by producing electricity.
So kind of 29 and 30 like construction windows likely. Kind of rolling back sort of between the time when we put in the RFP response to that construction window. There's going to be a number of permitting steps that we'll go through federally, provincially, and through the RM. We'll also work through the engineering in that time. We'll work to close financing on the projects, all in that window leading up to construction. Probably could have started with this, but what is involved in a wind project? So the turbines we're looking at these days are about 6 megawatts, 7 megawatts. So we're around 30 turbines for the project that's 200 megawatts. And each turbine, they have a steel tower that goes up. The generator is in the nacelle, so kind of around the hub, and then there's 3 blades. Pretty much industry-wide, they all look the same. From each of those turbines, they'll connect with underground cable. So we'll likely plow in a cable that's usually 3 feet underground. They'll connect, all those cables will connect back to a project substation. So it looks like similar to the one you have in town over here, just a little bit smaller. From there, Manitoba Hydro will be responsible for connecting that to the grid. That's likely going to be this substation right over here. They'll likely run that with typical overhead towers. Any questions on that? I know I've talked to people before, haven't seen wind farms that are no. I think what I get questions I hear on that sometimes is, will there be a bunch of overhead lines, and there won't be between the turbines. That it's all done underground. So a little bit about the siting of the projects. I think we touched on this, but sort of we start with a project location that we think is of interest, where the wind is strong, there's connection to the existing transmission grid. Those kind of like the foundations to have a wind project. And then we bring in a lot of different information as we work through that to work into what the project design looks like. Different noise constraints, environmental constraints, bylaws, community feedback. We'll hear different things from federal agencies like NAV Canada and Transport Canada. Look at the cell tower and radio communication links to make sure that we're not disrupting those in the area. We'll talk to first responders, more about the processes of the project, but also about considerations of access, landowner feedback. A lot of feedback comes from landowners, especially around the entry point to the roads into the turbines. So off of the RM's road, we'll have a small access road to the turbine, and they sometimes have preference about which way we access to support the farming needs. But we start with the shortest road is obviously the most favorable. And this process is iterative, so we start one, put one design down with our turbines. We look at the different constraints, we adjust it again. Then they go and they do the engineering for what the roads and the we call them collector cables, so all the electric cables that connect the turbine. We look at it again, we get consultation on that. It usually changes a couple of turbine locations, then we re-engineer it again, and it kind of goes through an iterative process through that. So we'll advance the engineering along with those steps, and then we'll work once we have a near final design. We'll work through the permitting process. Any questions?
Yeah, have all the people, all the landowners inside this yellow square, the catchment area,
Yeah.
have they all been contacted?
That's just the project area.
Oh. I would say the majority of the landowners have been contacted within reason. Obviously, in that Colonial Valley, if there's any parcels in that deep valley, those are the ones we kind of leave out. But on both sides, like I said, generally, I would say 95% of the landowners are on side, and the sentiment is quite positive. This week, I've been out under Brian's direction.
Don't get a warning.
I could have called Leslie. Under Brian's direction, so like I said, we've been meeting with a lot of landowners, optioning their lands, and now we're kind of down to what's making sense for the project for infilling, so Brian can lay out the project in the most efficient manner, and given the greatest flexibility, knowing that we might have different kind of constraints coming in, environmental, sound, and so forth. We have to maintain that flexibility by having contiguous lands, and we're from the colony all the way around, coming down by 471 and heading east to almost Highway 5. I think we're 2 miles west of Highway 5, so it's getting very, very good.
The reason I ask is our family has land in there, and I've never talked to anybody.
What's your family's name? Last name?
Scott.
I would say that this is a boundary, an outer boundary, and we don't have. There's not. The land we've signed is not all the way around this. This was just like me drawing a box around some of the land that we're looking at. So I think we've talked to the landowners within the following the wind.
Yeah, so when we're developing the process, we work with our energy resource team, Keith and so forth, and typically we target the windiest areas first and engage with those landowners. If those landowners happen to have multiple parcels, all the better, but that's what we target first is the windiest areas, and we kind of move out from there and migrate out from there to kind of formalize the whole project. I don't know where your land is. It could be north of Mountain Road. Is it?
No, it's west of Eden.
West of Eden.
265.
265. That would be on the very, very west edge of the project. East end. So you'd be almost by the corner of the turnoff there, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
There's been less discussion kind of along the east end of the box there, just because the wind is generally the best top of the hill. So most of the land signing is actually kind of up the hill.
Yeah. And we do that on purpose, right? Because there is provisions in our agreement that has not only turbine payments to landowners, but there's a royalty and so forth. So if you sign everybody into a project and everyone has that idea of, oh, am I going to get a turbine? It's not really, I guess, true that way. So we try to make sure that we are signing things that are viable to our project area.
Did you have a test site around?
We do have, yes, so we do have a LiDAR location set up west Polonia. I guess it would be, what road is that?
95 West.
95 West. 95 West, yeah. We do have a LiDAR site set up there. That's been up since, yeah, that's been up since I think maybe May,
last
June.
fall.
Yeah. So it's been up there for a while, and that's going to provide the data and validation to our wind resourcing team to help Brian in in the different iterations of the layouts that we'll be going through.
So will that get moved, like say we go down, we're in a different area to test again?
I wish I knew Rory's job.
Because I know it's been there for quite a while, and that's just one spot.
That's just one spot, and yeah, I don't know, maybe you can.
We would likely, the thought right now is we'd likely leave that one there.
Okay.
And put in another one, south, what am I thinking, southeast, over there, just to cover kind of both sides of, I call it coulee, I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, the valley.
Just because the wind sometimes does funny things over features like that, so just to get kind of sample on both sides.
Yes, okay. Yeah, just.
I have one more concern about roads. Look, pretending that this goes forward. Our roads are right at the edge of supporting the truck traffic that we have right now. And I can imagine that some upgrades will need to be done. And I don't think that the yard would like to do those upgrades to the roads. So what's the protocol for that? Like you upgrade your own road as you need?
Yeah, we would work with the RM on what those upgrades might look like. I think it would be, we obviously have a lot of equipment that would come with the project, so we could upgrade those roads, or we could pay the costs to the RM to use your own equipment to upgrade those. Either way, it would be funded through the project.
And have you talked to, well, I guess the one thing aggregate is a concern in Manitoba. We happen to have some here. Have you talked to the pit owners and whatnot?
Sure have.
Okay.
We don't have our construction leads here, so we have our construction director, Liam, and under him, I guess it would be Scott Ward. So there is a process in place under construction, and I just did this on our Ontario project when I parachuted in. But they have a qualification through their construction group that's different from what we do. And qualified vendors, if you're qualified and you have materials and so forth, once you're qualified with RES, you'll have the opportunity to then, I guess, bid your materials in or your resources in. And if it's competitive and you can meet all the requirements in that RES have set out, then you'll have the opportunity, because they still always look for local contractors, local materials, and so forth. And yeah, I know exactly where those two, that main quarry is for sure.
On that, do you look at the land that you're putting it on to make sure that there's no resources in it? Right? Like if there was a large gravel deposit where these were going, like you look at that to ensure that you're not placing it on over some mineral resources that could be it.
If the landowner doesn't mention that they have aggregate under their land, we don't go seeking that information. So if it's offered up, we'll definitely bring it back to our team and so forth. But yeah, I've had one landowner in the last 5 years mention that south end of his quarry is going to be developed into a quarry. So what we do in our agreement in that is that we have an exclusionary area. So instead of optioning his whole quarter section, we only option the 80 acres on the north side, and we exclude his area that he could be developing into a quarry. And that's only by virtue of discussion, but we don't normally seek it out.
But if an office like mine requested it, you would do it?
I'm
I'm not trying to play the game, but I'm just saying, like, that's something that we do look at in developing, is that we don't take away, resources, right? And that's.
Do you guys have a some kind of mapping already? Like some people have maps of the area where they're kind of
I never compared them to. We do.
Yeah, but a turbine takes up an acre and a half to 2 acres, right? And our underground cables, they're plowed in using almost like a tile drainage plow, and it just goes in 3 feet, it just gets zipped in. But yeah, we're happy to have further discussions on that if you have something in mind.
I'd have to have it. We would something we'd have to compare to where the site is and map or something. Maybe we not. I don't know. That was just a very good point that Jeff brought up there. So good job.
I don't know why Jeff remembers your name.
It's got a good name.
I think we talked about the project boundary. Unless there's any questions on?
I was a little disappointed. It's a little too far north. Could go south one more mile.
Well, it's close to your community. It's a long ways from my objective.
I think we touched on the bylaw, but sort of some more details of what we were thinking here. So there in the bylaw, there's an existing portion that there's a required setback to the property lines, and the bylaw says that if it's the same landowner that owns 2 parcels and signs the same agreement, you can reduce that setback. I would assume that intent is, the landowner is accepting of the project, so apparently they're accepting of the turbine being close to the property line, because it shouldn't really matter to them. We understand that. We've seen similar rules in other municipalities. What we'd ask for or seek as a variance would be if landowners have signed up to the project, so Bob and Steve are both participating, they're both being compensated, they both support the project, we could have the smaller distance to that property line. So if a non-participating landowner, Sue is next door on this side, that same larger setback would still exist because they're not being compensated by the project. They might support the project, but they're not, haven't signed the agreement to say that they are. So we'd just be looking to extend, what we think is the intent of that bylaw to be everyone participating.
Never use the name Sue in a political.
Yeah, sure.
Right, Bernie, Henry, nothing.
Never Sue.
It's my mom's.
Where are the other sites that you're looking at? Where are the other sites or project areas that you're looking at?
This is the only one with MMF for this procurement. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that's setback distance. We've also talked about potentially there'd be some locations that would have a smaller setback to roads. We'd need to look closer at that in terms of, we wouldn't request like a blanket variance to that. If there's like some specific locations where we felt, it was safe and valuable, then we would come present more information on that. Jeff, any thoughts, questions, feedback?
I guess probably my only thing is just to comment about if the landowners aren't saying, I guess my first instinct would be to treat it the same as variation.
Yeah.
Just that's where you start getting in trouble when you stray away from what the words say, and 10 years down the line, the property's changed over, somebody starts digging in.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you didn't exactly follow your guidelines, right? That'd be my only concern with that, right? Like I say, as far as the process, it would happen at the same time as the approval, and obviously, I guess I'm going to use the word assume as well. If neighboring landowners are all friends, then that process gets approved quite easily, right? But at least then you have that documented that you did that process. You put it as an approval, and that approval is locked in on that roll number, and then any future purchaser, if they have a problem, they come back and you show them the file, and they say, well, on this date, this time, this was approved. Right? I don't think it adds to the process to do that variation when we're already doing the conditional use, right?
Would we also, thinking of properties can change hands, if someone owned 2 properties, now, so we weren't getting a variance, and then someone else owns that property later, would we put something on title confirming that?
Your issue or variance.
Right.
Even though it's not really
Yes. We'd probably do that through the approval of conditional use, and then ask for a development agreement, right? And then that development agreement under that process could get registered on title. Right? That would probably be the tiniest way. That way it's on everyone's title. Yeah. You buy it with that piece of paper, and then if
you read it or not when you bought it, that's up to you. Right?
Yeah.
It's good.
So on to next steps here. So we'll work more with council, Jordan, Jeff, to work through the next steps in terms of permitting. I think probably also like looking at what a development agreement might look like in terms of roads. You know, we probably wouldn't get to any stage where we'd sign it, but at least like talking about the main points at this stage. We talked about doing an open house whenever we can get the RFP in hand, and then we can turn around the advertising to make sure everyone's present. Taking that feedback into another round of the layout, and then bidding this into the RFP this summer. So this time for the next steps that we see. Is there anything else the council would like to see?
I don't think so. Except for Jeff wanting it a little further south. I don't see
As long as that small conflict gets smoothed over. You want to throw a bump inside? That bump here.
And there's a lot to digest, and you know, you may take this home, you might read it again a little closer, but I mean, these guys are so available, MMF's available for information and clarity. We want everybody to be at a comfort level. It's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our contact information, I believe, is on the last page, so feel free to shoot an email, text, call. Myself or Lauren Pelletier is my boss at MMF. He's the Director of Economic Development, and we'd be also happy to take a call as well. Get questions around MMF's involvement.
You may get questions as councillors from landowners more than they may question us. So it's important that, you're able to answer.
Yeah.
It's good for you.
And Brian does send out regular communications to the landowners participating in the projects, just kind of get an idea of what's kind of going on, what's coming up. So they're informed as well.
But we can share, as we move forward towards an open house, we can share the information with council ahead of time. You'll, of course, be invited to attend, but if, just so you can see ahead of time, know what might be coming.
All right, well, that's it. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Much appreciated.
We appreciate it, thank you.
And I imagine it'll be like a Manitoba Hydro news release or whatever when the contracts do get awarded and we know whether things are moving one way or another. It's gonna be something that'll be.
Yeah, usually they have requirements that we can't say anything until they say something.
They want the pat on the back. The big
Yeah.
brother,
Yeah.
big brother scenario, yeah.
7,000 lawyers.
All right, with that, I guess we'll break for lunch.
Okay,
thanks.
5.4, Brad's group, I need a mover. Seconder. Scott. Be it resolved that the RM of Rosedale
Reception
reception delegation made by the Reds group. All in favor? Carried. Okay.
Now let's go back to the third reading of the indemnity bylaw.
So the third reading of the indemnity bylaw,
What number is that?
8.22.
What is it? 8.2.
8.2. Oh, it's 2.22.
2.2, yeah. 2.2.
Do I have a mover?
Before you ask the question, I gotta make a comment on this. I'm gonna read what what we said, the amount.
Oh,
I didn't agree with
yeah, it
the
is.
amount. That's just my feeling.
Yeah. Okay, I need a seconder to first put it on the table though. Where it's 142 of the municipal act allows council to set the rates for the indemnities, mileage, remediation, and expenses payable. Therefore, be it resolved that council of the RM of Rosedale give third and final reading to the bylaw 1-2026, being the RM's indemnity bylaw, 6-2022. Recorded vote.
Okay, they can talk about it now.
Yeah, you can talk about it.
Well, my feeling is it's just too rich. We're not in very good financial shape. I agree, you gotta add little bits as we go, but I don't think anybody does his job for what you get reimbursed. And I think that that's too rich. So I'm voting against it.
We're at 7 now, right?
Any more comments, or do you want to go like?
See no comments.
All right. Earl Burton. 4. Robert Scott against.
Against, yeah.
David Tara. 4. Jeff Henry. 4. And Reed was 4. Carried.
Do you not read it for the record what it was and what's proposed?
You can.
Oh,
Read the entire bylaw.
Usually the
no, I don't
reading
mean that. Just what we propose changing. I can read the whole thing if you want, but I don't plan on staying.
Well, the indemnity is going from 700 to 800. The lunch allowance is $20. When you're attending a compensation for meals event, breakfast is 25, lunch is 30, supper is 40. Those were the 3 big changes.
Yeah.
We didn't touch the cell phone allowance. And mileage is based on the same travel directive of the National Joint Council as before.
So basically just our lunch stuff and that, and then we're away. It just went up. But that had to go because I noticed when we went to convention that it didn't, what we had didn't even come to meal, so, you know. Oh, so now we're on 8.3?
Yeah.
Aggregate hauling bylaw. First reading. Do I have a mover? David Tedder. Seconder? Sure. Be this resolved that council of the RM of Rosedale introduce and give first reading to the bylaw 2-2026, being the RM's agreement or aggregate hauling bylaw, and repeal the bylaw 2-2023.
So I've updated the fees, like that's the rate per meter and the rate per ton. These rates will be increased one more time. I'm just waiting on municipal relations to update it. Usually they do it by February 1st, but they're slow. I checked their website even yesterday and they still only have the 2025 posted rates. So I'm sure that will be changing any day, so then we'll have that amended into the 3rd reading. The other item of change is the permit fee. You can charge up to $200. Currently you charge $50. The draft bylaw has it at $200, but it's up to council if you guys want to leave it at $50 or put the transport license up to $200.
that's a once-a-year fee that.
Correct.
And they'll cover administration costs.
Absolutely correct.
Because 50's not new. No, for sure.
Okay.
50 down.
And just to break it all up, that's,
Yeah.
it's gonna cost more than that. So everybody's good with the changes? So all in favor? Second reading. Do I have a mover? Are you sure? Seconder? Earl Burton? Oh, sorry. Earl. Be it resolved, the Council of the RM of Rosedale give second reading to the bylaw 2-2026 being the RM's aggregate column bylaw and repeal the bylaw 2-2023. All in favor? Carried. Committee report. Do I have a mover? Sure. Second. Chair. Be it resolved that the minutes of the community reports be received as presented in NAPD minutes of the January 26, 2026. Mine on this with the handyman, we don't have our meeting till next Monday, so I don't know, did it give you anything at the last meeting? I can't remember when my last meeting was, to tell you the truth. I think it was after or before we served chili at the, which I can tell you that really, they ran out of chili, we had to turn people away from the arts forward.
Well,
Yeah. So I'm sure
We did that last year too, didn't we?
Yeah.
last meeting we had the vet board, the planning district, and the Rossburn Trail Association.
I didn't make it to the meeting and it worked.
But I encourage you guys, anytime you attend a committee meeting, just bug whoever's taking the minutes, forward them my way after.
I'll let the community.
Yeah, I'll get, can't think of their name, forward to send to. So all in favor? Carried.
There was no back door meeting. That was only the council meeting.
It takes us to item 10, fire department pay policy. Do I have a mover? Sure. I'll move it. Dave Tyler.
You can't move. I'll move it.
Sure. Be it resolved that the
You can't
Council
do
of
it.
the RM of Rosedale adopt policy PS-001 being policy, a policy to establish rates and the schedule for
Remuneration.
remuneration of volunteer firefighters.
Earl put himself first.
Yeah.
So we talked about this previously that we'd like a policy in place to move the fire department pay to quarterly rather than annually. So this policy just kind of summarizes it in a couple pages quickly to just kind of lay it out so we can give it to the fire department and get them to start giving us their hours quarterly rather than annually. I haven't heard any pushback from any of the fire department members, and hopefully they'll be forthcoming with their pre-authorized bank payments so we can just pay them by PayMate. And that's about it. Is there any questions about this policy?
I was surprised that the monthly indemnity for the fire chief is 0.
That's why I put it in there. This is the only municipality I've ever worked at where the monthly indemnity for fire chiefs is 0. So I just wanted it in the policy so people know that the monthly indemnity for both our fire chiefs is 0.
What's a common indemnity like for a small RM?
I have to look at their bylaws, but
Minus 50.
Advance $50.
We should tell her.
Even that he's 50 early, you gotta pay 200.
Yeah.
All right, there's no other questions, all in favor? Carried.
thanks for that. That should help us a little more in the office.
That's a better way of doing it by long shot. You keep track of your hours.
Councilor Burton, you're ready to come back. They passed the poll.
You would say it, I didn't.
I don't have any updates on the Gerard tile drainage. Councillor Hanson, do you have anything about the regional community flex request yet?
Just that, nothing wrong, but they have the land appraised over by the hospital and whatnot, and the appraised value assessment, no, appraised value was slightly higher than what they were comfortable with. So everything is just still hanging fire, and they're waiting for a grant to come through the NACO to proceed. So there's nothing concrete yet.
But you'd like it to remain under unfinished business for now?
I think so, because it's going to be expensive, and we'll have to pass a motion once they agree on the price tag.
Okay.
Whether we're actually going to support it or not.
Okay, so 12.1 available equipment rates. Do I have a motion? Sure. Second. Sure. Be resolved that the council of the RM of Rosedale accept the 2026 available equipment rates submitted.
So we talked about just it'd be good to have all of our local companies and what the rates they charge if we ever get into a situation, especially emergency situations, to know who to call first, what to call, who has what equipment, and items like that. So we do have all the rates that we've received organized into an Excel spreadsheet that we can sort when we need to. You know, if we're in need of backhoes only, then we can search all these rates we've received of people who have backhoes or skid steers or things like that. A lot of it just follows the Manitoba Heavy Construction Association's rates for equipment, but it's good to have if we ever get into a situation where we need to find equipment on emergency situations. And it's just good practice to have this always available. There are some things, you know, we always require a bit of indemnities and things like that, so we made them all sign forms too. So they can't basically, you know, bring a broken piece of equipment to us and say, well, you broke it, so you got to repair it, kind of thing. We don't take any responsibility for the damage, loss, or rates infringed.
Questions on this? No? All in favor? Carried. Gravel hauling rates. Do you have a mover? Robert. Secondly, Robert Scott. Whereas an invitation to bid was advertised for the aggregate loading, hauling, and spreading of the RM of Rosedale's municipal roads. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the RM of Rosedale accept the following personnel submit for the year 2026. Ward 1, P. Baker, backhoe at $5.85. Ward 2, Pat Baker hoe at 5.
1 second.
Oh,
I know I have to excuse myself because of the issue, but I feel the decision is somewhat before you guys make it. I'd like to just put a little bit of input into it before, if that's okay.
yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, yeah, let's finish this then. Ward, what did I leave off?
You're at Ward 2.
Ward 2, P. Baker and hoe at $5.65. Ward 3, P. Baker and hoe at $5.85. Ward 4 is open. Ward 5, P. Baker at $6.15, and Ward 6 at Rebel Backhoe and Gravel Limited at $8.40. Okay, you can add in.
I just, all I want to say is, last few years we've been doing it with one contractor. And I think it's a good part of the season to get all the jobbing done and get working on the road. By the time guys can work on the road, I think we should do at least 2 days. That's it.
I got a stupid question, why is Ward 4 blank?
Because it's a tie, so it's you guys to decide.
Oh, I see, okay, that's, because I thought I'd seen in your package that there was numbers in that word, it just.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I put into the resolution the lowest rate because it kind of seemed like you guys tend to follow like the procurement policy of accepting the lowest rates. So under the attachment called summary of bids received, we have a tie for the Ward 4, Ward 6, as the Reeve read out, Rempel, Backlow, and Gravel came in the lowest for that ward, rather than P. Baker for the other 4 wards. And then it's kind of up to council of who you want to put in for Ward 4, as it is a tie.
Oh, I see.
The other question I got is these estimates on location got Ward 4 for 8,000 yards.
Yeah, I think that's what you guys used last year, because you also include the highways, like the 3-digit.
Oh, okay, the PR roads.
Yeah, that was an extra, yeah, we did, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess, 471. So and don't correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought he was around 5,400 yards, so that's another 2,600 yards for the PRs. I guess it, yeah, it would be, we could, yeah, well, never mind, yeah.
Because that's, we talked about that as well.
Okay.
Because at one time Ron was taking that out of his own lot.
Yeah, gotcha.
And the PR part, so we agreed not to take that separately. So it looks like Ron gets way more gravel than us, but it's actually that gravel is designated for the 471.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I don't like it this way, because it's making my life really hard right now, trying to do the provincial rules and breaking down. Now I have to go through every haul slip, because I only have the totals based off of what P. Baker was charging, and he just puts like Ward 1, Ward 2, Ward 3, and then having to figure it out from there. But yeah, that's where those estimated amounts are based off. They do include all the PR roads as well in each ward. Because even Ward 1, I was told that everything came out of the Eden pit, but it looked like you guys must use the Fisher pit for the
Back part of your board.
That's where, well, that's Ward 1.
Yeah. Because I would switch year to year. I do an even one year to do this side, and then the other side Fisher, and then I flip flop the next year.
Okay.
Or actually, yeah, while we're talking about it, there's an attachment called Updated Summary. It shows in 2025, you guys crushed 40,000 out of the Fisher pit, used approximately 12,500. That gives a year-end inventory of 27,500 in the Fisher pit. And then the Kozak pit, you crushed 20,000. We used about 12,700, which leaves 7,300. Plus, there's an estimate on the books that there's approximately 3,000 yards left over. But you guys always you use more than that out of the Kozak pit. So that's where I had to talk with Councillor Kostenchuk, because his ward would be the one that it would all need to come out of the Fisher pit this year, rather than last year. I think he kind of split his ward in half. Half of it came out of the Kozak, half of it came out of the Fisher pit. That material on my books doesn't exist yet. I guess we'll always see once the trucks get hauling and what pile is left after it's all said and done. But that's where we're at with that. Thanks, Councillor Todorock, for helping me out with figuring out which councillors, which pit.
I should have given you more information, but you did very well, thank you. I just too much information about you either.
What do you got left in Eden this year? What do you figure there? Ballpark? No. I haven't been over there.
Pretty good pile there.
Yeah. I haven't been over there to see.
Well, I hope at least 5,500.
Oh yeah, no, I was wondering, I haven't been over there to have a look at it over this now, so.
Ready?
2 miles long racks all the time.
So can you split, like when there's a tie, can you split it half and half? Or is it one gets all?
I would recommend we're to get to one company. It'd be a little difficult if we're.
We tried that once over at my own ward, and it was a nightmare.
Was it?
Yeah, napping and complaining.
And even the guys coming in and out of the same pit and things like that, it can, because we always want to get our gravel down, right? You want to get your gravel down first and then do your dust control. So then if a ward is too slow on its gravel, then you're holding up that whole ward's dust control as well. Which is a different contract for a different day.
Yeah.
So when I look at it, and this is just my opinion. I mean, you got P. Baker doing 1, 2, 3, 4. Rample doing 1. Throw 1 into EK, because they're all tied anyways at a 6:15.
Where's the coin?
Yeah. Because that kind of what he mentioned about splitting it up, getting it done faster.
And then we have the 3 contractors now too, right? They'll run into each other.
So what'd you suggest, Carl?
Well, just that Pat's got 5 wards here, right? So he's gonna be busy doing those 5 wards.
Right.
We wanna get the gravel down as fast as possible. We got Rample that's closer to Calwood.
Ward 6, yeah.
Yeah. And then if we rewarded that Ward 4 to E and K, I know we got 3 operators, but then those roads are getting ground fast and done. And only because there's no variance of, they're all tied here for the same price of what doing Ward 5. Or 4, sorry.
Yeah.
They're already close to each other.
And they're close to each other, so.
2 are tied, one's 3 cents different.
Yeah.
3 cents on
I don't know.
all yards and $50.
Yeah.
So, how many do you want? 3 contracts?
This is,
You want 2?
but this is the gravel, the footing,
Well,
that's what
I
Carl's talking about.
myself, I wish you could do 2 in each one.
No, we don't.
They're all here.
For Carl's suggestion is to let you do that.
All 3 of them?
Because
Yeah.
there's no difference.
2 for sausage truck, 2 for
Yeah,
knuckle,
6,
and 2
15,
for
yeah.
big.
15 a yard.
And 6 more.
Yeah.
Only reason why I say that, because they're all here paying taxes here.
It isn't,
Because you give it
normally
one
you have to
guy,
do the split because
it's
the
the
annual
whole-
is the same, so.
Right.
The rest are paying
I
here too, you know, and they live here.
Good argument.
Yeah. That part I do like.
In my little request for pricing, I did put the little bulletin that lowest rating proposal is not necessarily accepted. It's because it's your guys' decision, not mine. I don't want to handcuff you guys on anything, but this is what I've been able to collect for you.
Yeah,
No, I just like to keep all 3 of them busy because
they'll work
when
it.
I needed I needed gravel for that bridge that time on that old highway.
Oh, on a Saturday at 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock in the afternoon, 4:30 in the afternoon, I phoned around and nobody's. And I phoned Kyle and I said, hey Kyle, what can you do? I'll be there in 35 minutes with a load. And he dropped everything and brought it down and dropped it right there where Mike came in. So that's what I mean. I want to keep all 3
I'd like
guys.
to keep all 3 guys busy too and spread our work around for sure.
No, do
Well,
we
maybe
do we give them a 1 and 2 to Baker, 3 and 4 to Bosachuk, 5 and 6 to Rem?
I like Carl's idea, the best give 4 to EK, and that way it's the lowest bidder across the board.
Yeah, no, it's.
Oh, yeah,
It's
it
more
is.
fair. It's more fair in it, because otherwise sometimes
Yeah.
the behind the scenes information and chit chat could go sideways.
Because if you look,
That
if you look
possibly,
here,
yeah.
like,
Because it's the vacant one, because of the ties, just give the tie to
there's
the
that difference to the.
Yeah.
Or flip it on there. Anybody, Jeff?
I don't. Thanks for asking.
So everybody okay with putting E and K in 4?
As long as they're okay with it,
They're okay with it.
maybe they want to work for us. We're tough group.
Work is work.
Yeah. No, agreed.
Big job, small job, you take them all.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, that's where I heard some positive feedback that we were kind of asking for the stuff in February rather than later down the road too, so they can kind of plan their spring work as well.
Yes.
Because they understand our need and desire for when we want the hauling, we want it now kind of thing.
I guess the question is this, do we put a deadline on the, say, the spreading of the gravel, now that we're spreading the load around, so to speak?
You guys and your dad jokes. You tell me when, because that's always a difficult thing to do as well, because look how much snow is there now, so are we going to be putting gravel down in April, or are we going to be getting
some
snowstorms?
days into July, say, for example, just like have a deadline at the end of July.
Completed
By the end of July, because like what we've agreed that having more companies working, there's no excuses, in my opinion. So I mean, we need a deadline, and I think.
The only thing that could tie that up, I think we went through that last year, is the dust control. They got delayed because of weather.
No, for sure. I mean, that's an exception to the rule, but I mean, do it
We're
deadline.
down with pouring rain.
Yeah, so that's my, I'd like to see a deadline, just for the sake of, and all jobs we do, not
Yeah.
just this one, but all jobs. But July 31st is a simple
Yeah.
end of summer.
And I guess if you get it out by that time, you're not worried about the hard traffic, right?
No, and they got, because it's still
They're off the
February,
road.
they got 4 months, 2 months to figure that out, right? Because it is February.
Well, yeah, because I was kind of thinking of including a clause saying like on the demand of the RM, because then we have, or foreman would have the say of saying, okay, well, now it's time to get rolling on this, but we can certainly have a deadline date for
Well,
sure,
they-
but
yeah, for them.
I'm thinking I want you graveling by May.
No, I'm agreeing to that, but I mean, the window that Dave just described could be weathered.
That's true.
Yeah, but I think the foreman also, because then we want the public works to have the roads ready to be gravelled. Like if say,
Yeah,
Ernie's Court is ready to go ahead of mine,
shoulders
do his first.
Last year they started in April.
Yeah. Yeah,
Prepping or
road.
graveling?
Gravel. They started in April last year. I definitely would want the roads graded before they gravel.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's what I mean, it gives a foreman a chance to call that shot.
That's what that happened last year. Some of my roads didn't get, and man, it was when they laid that gravel hole. I actually pitied the grader operator because you got this
Product to deal with.
and then this new product sitting in those holes, and it's like, oh, holy heck.
So we'll put E and K on for them.
Yeah, because Carl said.
Yeah, Carl who?
Yeah, Carl who, that's right.
I don't know this company. 6:50. All right. Everyone happy with that? Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, all right.
Hey, I let a little visit with Catherine while you go.
That's what he's doing.
What do you do, Jim?
While he makes his way back, it is that time of year to be thinking about the AMM Spring Convention in Brandon. This is the one that has the Mayor's Reef CAOs on Tuesday, and then the 2-day breakouts and the trade show and that kind of fun stuff.
So can I have a mover on 12.3? Second. Be it resolved that the Council of the RM of Rosedale authorize the registration for the AMM 2026 Spring Convention held in Brandon, Manitoba on April 21st, 23rd, 2026 for the following.
So who wants to go?
I'm going, so.
What's the cost of registration?
You don't want to pay for the least the cost yet, but I can check their website.
This one's better than the fall one, by a couple of these members that have attended.
They are.
I thought we discussed one time that you had a choice, one or the other. When you either went to the Winnipeg one or.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't gonna go to the Winnipeg one, I was just gonna go to the
This-
spring one.
This registration for this thing is a lot of money, and what do you get out of it? Well, I've been going for a long time, never registered once.
To the railroad.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Go over there, all, my main thing was is to see the equipment they had and the salespeople and
think
who needs wines and cheese. That's what it ends up when it costs the municipality. Did you get a price?
$450 an attendant.
Yeah. You know, there's a bill in here right now for, how much is the hotel in Winnipeg, the bill is there, 10,000? Something to that effect.
Go for the fall convention. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I just think you gotta watch our money.
I know the one
it's a
year
good
I went
idea
to
to
Brandon, I
go.
just drove back home.
Pardon?
One year I went to Brandon, I just drove back home.
Well, we have that, yeah,
I
because
just
I gotta pay
I
the
went for the day
attendance.
and
The registration,
drove back home.
it's a registration. fee.
Yeah, I know that. We've been.
That was
paying
gonna be my next
registration
question
money
was,
because-
which ones want hotel rooms and which ones are doing the drive?
I'm just out for.
Okay.
Me as well, okay.
I might go over for the day.
You're not going either, right? So just me and the Reeve. Can I bring Public Works in for the day to go around the trade show?
I would. We talked about it before. Getting them in to see the equipment.
But talk to all the suppliers.
Well, I know
Yeah,
we
well,
talked
they're
about,
not busy yet.
I know North
Yeah,
Side was like, for
with stipulation, as long as we don't get a big snowstorm and roads are blocked. Yeah, yeah.
It would only be the Wednesday, the one where the trade show's open all day. It wouldn't be the Thursday one, it would just be the Wednesday one.
because I know like the North Side was like, for that one there, all their guys were there.
It's a very common practice that
All
the
of
Public
them,
Works go there.
Half a dozen.
Well, that's your opportunity to talk to like your culvert suppliers, your everything.
It's close for us.
Right.
See, that's the only thing, if I was gonna go.
Pretty close.
Or-
I drive every day. What do you know?
Do we have to be registered to go to the trade show?
I think you get like
Oh,
an
that's-
observer pass or something. We'll look into it.
Look into it, because I would go for the trade show part, but I like to see the guys.
You just
That's shag.
Talk to different
Nice.
salesmen.
Yeah.
You know?
You're not sounding like the graders yet, so you gotta.
You wouldn't even let me buy an electric lawnmower.
I'm not too bad at an electric one.
No, he didn't want
For the RM.
For the RM.
Oh,
See, I secretly.
we don't want to cut grass much farther now.
I secretly voted yes for that, but these guys, other guys are being.
Secretly.
Alright.
Oh, buy a generator and then to haul around on the trailer so we can charge that thing. So either way, we're burning gas.
Once I convince you guys to try one, you're all gonna realize, oh, I was a dinosaur.
All in favor?
Yeah, you don't mind George checking into that, see if we're about to go to the trade show. Be great.
Okay. 12.4 medical clinic recruitment grant request. Do I have a mover? Ronald Scott. Seconder, Ron Kosachuk. Be it resolved that the Council of the RM of Rosedale approves the grant in the amount of $3,048 to the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic for their recruitment committee. Any questions on that?
It's the same amount as last year.
Yeah.
And prior to that, there was years we didn't pay anything. We were getting, our pots got drawn down, and I think it's money well spent. We're gonna have to source a lot of new doctors for this upcoming hospital.
Yep.
They're making it your guys' responsibility and not Prairie Mountain Health.
No, very minimal house that's joining in on that too, but.
Oh, okay.
According to what I
trying
found,
to
the
share all the
shareholders.
doctors, so.
That sounds
Trying to get them in here.
Yeah.
Gotta make them like the place before they wanna come here.
We've got a fair number of them on that, but we need a ton more.
Yeah.
And according to the last meeting I was at, nobody should be looking for a doctor.
Well, that'd be a good thing.
If you registered at, I can't think of the name of,
Dr. Fine.
Doctor's Fine, Doctor's Fine, is that what it's called? They've had enough new doctors come here, they had nobody on the waiting list.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's good.
It's working.
So all in favor? Carried.
My public service announcement too is I used Q-Docs the other day. And that was smooth and painless. It was well worth it. It saved me a trip, which is like, I couldn't believe how easy it was to use.
Okay. Number 12.5, Origins novel number 5 book. Do I have a mover?
I'll do it.
Sure. Seconder, Dave Tedrock. Be it resolved that the Council of the RM of Rosedale approves the RM being the sponsor for agent for the Beautiful Plains Origin 5th volume history book in the Along the Hills to the Valley series. So Will Smith texted me and we did this for him last year. We just sent a letter, just a support, because he's applying for the grant from the Beautiful Plains thing to write this book. We did it last year for him, so.
And as as sponsoring agent, it's your guys' choice whether or not you want them to be supplying you with financial statements or anything like that, or we just get them their grant and let them draft their 5th book. I didn't read the resolution with any stipulations or requirements, but this would be the one window if you wanted to.
I'm sure Willie's not gonna go spend money like crazy.
Better support.
Well,
Hopefully they get their grant and way
They
they
have
go.
rules to
Yeah.
apply, I'm sure that everything is okay.
Okay, all in favor then? Carried. (12-6) Bernie Hall, 26 requests. Do I have a mover? Good Tutter. Seconder. Earl Burton. Be it resolved, the Council of the RM of Rosedale approves the Bernie Hall community request to pay the hydro and insurance expense for the Bernie Community Hall for 2026.
That's a question.
Go ahead, that's what we open it now.
We paid their utilities last year, I believe, yes? Or
That's from the special service levy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the utilities and the insurance.
And that special service levy is now defunct.
Because it's all chemicals.
Yeah, because we couldn't get the public notice and everything through the municipal board, even though the municipal board is faster than the public utilities board. They're really slow too, because even when I went to my convention in late September, they were saying get your bylaws in by then to get it back before the May 15th financial plan deadline. And the strike only ended, I can't remember the date, but
Yesterday,
So the spirit of community, they're asking the entire RM to pay for it as opposed to the residents of Bernie. Is that-
yeah.
because they catch the thing is not in the lease.
And you'd have to refer back to the bylaw of what that amount was going to be.
$45, almost, yeah. Forget the number of catch. I don't remember the number of people that they catch.
Oh, I think it was 80, between 80 and 90, exact number, 85, I think, top of my head.
But they needed kind of an answer from us now because their insurance runs February to February. So either we get them onto our Western Financial Group insurance municipal facility insurance plan, or they need to run and get their private insurance again.
I think they're asking just for the 1 year because of the hiccup in the levy system, so that's.
I think we've all discussed before that maybe this is a broader opening of the door where we should be looking at all clubs and community centers as a whole, what we're doing. I don't know if this council wants to do it or the next council, but it should be reviewed as a whole.
I think you're right.
In my opinion.
Scary as
And
that.
ratepayers that have bent the year, I guess.
In my opinion, is it should be us doing it now so that it's a presentation point. So you want to re-elect me because I'm about to do this,
Yeah.
or you want to elect somebody that says they're not going to do it.
Yeah. But I think all the centers have to be looked at as a whole.
Yeah.
What's fair for one should be fair for all, in my opinion. And especially those that are stepping out and doing active. Yeah, if they're very active, then yes. If they're non-active, that's a different slate.
Yeah. So we're okay with this then? All in favor? Carried.
So we'll do that levy process this year, Jordan? Like we'll attempt to do that, reestablish that levy process for the Bernie Hall this year?
That's up for council to determine what they want to do late summer, early fall time.
Okay.
Or like Jeff said, you guys won't touch it and make it a November problem.
Yeah, no, we need to proactive rather than reactive.
Okay, 12.7 co-op tank monitoring system. Do I have a mover? Carl Scott. Second. Ron Cossich. Be resolved that the Council of the RM of Rosedale approved the RM entering into an agreement with the Deepwater Gladstone Co-op for installation of a fuel tank monitor device.
So the co-op reached out to me and they said that they were to talk with some members of council about this device. Basically, it monitors the fuel at any given time of hand. So then, I think it's so they know when to come and fuel, fill our tanks back up.
Eric is doing that for 2 years now, at least.
And cost that much. Zero. It makes sense because they can plan their trips and do it.
Exactly. Especially with ours, we've got those two, one tank. I don't know, to me we should have more fuel here. We got a 500 gallon of diesel and a 500 gallon gas.
That's kind of crazy.
It's crazy.
Does that go big?
If you wanted to.
Why don't we change up the tank? I'm sure Guapo will do it, but that's where it came from.
Change
And we
it
bought
over.
it over so many years.
Yes.
I could talk to them when
Up
we do this agreement.
Because that's, I mean, you can burn that in a day.
Well, most farmers got 1,000 gallons.
Oh, yeah.
If you
That's
wanna
only-
do
that's
that's
only a
fuel
pump.
everything up even.
Yeah.
Well, if you fuel the 2 graders up, went out Saturday morning because of a big storm, and fuel them up for Saturday night, Sunday, you might get a little bit down.
And they must put, I don't know what they are.
I don't know why they
years.
Each grader,
Should be.
be all that. So I bet you they are.
What's that?
300 liters, that's 27 gallons.
Yeah.
It'll be all that. I would say.
Yeah, I don't think we have big enough fuel capacity.
While we wait for the Reef's return, Mike Davidson got back to me and he said that Peno's invoice was for 24 shoes and 8 brackets. He had already asked Dionco about them and we can get the shoes from them, but he figured that this was cheaper, so that's why he went with Peno for the 24 shoes and 8 brackets for the grader on that invoice in question.
I mean, definitely cheaper, because I think they were $132 a piece. And the Uncle was, they were talking two something. They were way over 200.
24,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be
250.
140, 150
And then
when we first started getting.
250?
$6,000
Almost
divided.
two.
I think their shoes are way more than that last year. When they-
Not that
they're
more.
225, they're way more than that.
Shoes and what else did he get?
8 brackets.
You would get rid of that 225 a shoe. The brackets, the brackets for.
Hold the shoe on?
It's
What does the bracket hold the shoe on?
What's the brush?
I don't know.
I don't
There's,
That's the leg thing.
yeah,
Is it?
like there's 2 or 3 different, like there's shoes, but there's V-plow and the one legs are different.
Yeah.
Shoes in different brackets. Yeah. That's probably the difference. The brackets. The brackets are.
No problem. You want to just call for the vote, I kept them entertained.
All dart tricks.
All in favor?
Carry.
No.
The co-op fuel monitoring system.
Mine was quicker than the eyes.
I think Ron, when we were talking about not carrying, we used to have 1,000 gallons. And when we put that tank in, Co-op recommended this one. And
Yeah.
they said, well, you don't need to worry about, we're going by here all the time, we'll keep it. Now they're finding it flipped, they pay in the
Well, it
neck.
would be a pain for them, probably.
I've never ran out of fuel though, either. I guess if Jordan does the research and see what's gonna cost us or not cost us, then we make an informed decision from that.
It'll come back to you guys next month.
Yeah.
That's part of it, that's what we do.
Okay, Junior AGM sponsor. Do I have a mover?
Sure.
Earl Burton.
There's someone to draw today. Earl.
Yeah, that's right.
Be resolved that the council of the RM of Rosedale sponsors the Neepawa and Area District Chamber of Commerce and the Neepawa Tourism AGM as a silver event sponsor in the amount of $250.
That's what you guys did last time. So I wrote it up as the same as last time, but it's up to you.
Huh? You went to that one.
Yep. They gave us 2 tickets.
This time we only get one as a silver sponsor.
They gave us 2, I think, last year.
Is everyone happy leaving it $250 then?
I'm opposed to the
the sponsorship.
I'm leaning Jeff's way.
Yeah, me too.
You do. Seen them one every day with better hat.
Yeah, well,
That's right.
Then go with gold and you get your 2 tickets.
You stay out of this.
Because they're $50 a ticket, and you get $10 off after.
So all in favor or decline?
There's
You
three,
want to call for the vote and see your hands, I guess.
three times for sure. Or four, sorry, I think it was 4 times.
those are fun.
Times, or 5 times.
Okay, so
And I really didn't get a vote.
I'm with you, guys. Whatever we're- the truck's already going that way.
I'm gonna say you want to get your tuxedo.
Yeah.
Good.
Who wants to talk to the chamber president?
Who's the chamber president?
It's a scary question.
The talking to or who it is? It's you or him?
No, I'm not the chamber president.
If it's Robert Scott, I'll talk to him. Fuck me, DD.
Okay. I'm all for
Who's the chamber president?
I think it's a lady, even though they're throwing guys' names at me here.
Because I have a rehearsed Rosedale Council answer.
Yes.
No money.
No,
Oh.
basically we're exploring our within Rosedale sponsorships versus our without Rosedale sponsorships. Simple answer. And the truth.
okay, 12.9. Eden dump operation permit. Do I have a mover? Robert Scott. Seconder. Are you sure?
Thanks, sir.
Be it resolved, the Council of the RM of Rosedale accept the Eden Waste Disposal Ground Permit number 39922.
Okay, so we've been talking about this for quite a while in camera as preliminary information. Here's the date we're at where we finally got the operating permit for the Eden landfill. There are some very specific requirements hidden within this agreement or license. I'm just going to find specific ones here. So one of the big things is the final closure plan. Within 6 months of the date of this permit, we must submit a final closure plan for the approval of the director. So my understanding is that the RM kind of started a closure plan with the Eden dump, and then we kind of went to a waste transfer station, but we never got to the point of full final closure. And as you've seen with the Kelwood bids I've received, closure plans are very expensive. But because there's more heat on the Kelwood waste disposal grounds, that's why I've kind of moved and put it on the agenda this time. But the Eden one is not without its own expenses that are forthcoming that I'll be able to provide to council in a couple months probably. But that's one of the big things within this permit is they want us to prepare a final closure plan, do the final closure, and then we would take this operating permit and we would reapply it as a transfer station rather than right now this is a waste disposal grounds operating permit. But that doesn't mean just because we have the permit we can start running it like a dump now. It still needs to follow all the current rules that are in place with hauling waste to Eden and those kind of items, not burning and all those kind of restrictions that are currently in place. But just be aware, we must within 6 months submit a final closure plan for approval.
So that final closure plan is something that our foreman does, or that's something that the contractor does?
You usually have to pay an engineer around 60 to 100,000. And that doesn't include the cleanup, right? Because you know about the one cell with all the shingles on top, they either all need to be removed and you need to remedy the top and ensure that the top passes its testing, because it's not just the material you use, there's hydrohydraulic, I think it says it in here somewhere, but basically you have to pass both the material, the water, and the waste disposal grounds release gas as well. So I don't know how big of a hole this is going to actually end up running yet, which that's optimistic.
You said the word engineer right off the start there, but that's expensive.
Especially when you're not, because you're right beside a creek there, right?
Yeah. And the gravel, water area.
This is gonna be a very expensive deal.
Yeah,
Is,
but this is step one of
and
just getting you guys back on
this
track.
is just a question, but is it feasible to just excavate the entire thing and take the entire thing to a different, like to Kelwood? And just truck after truck?
It'll be thousands of years ago.
Okay.
Huge area.
Yeah, because whereas Kelwood is a confined small area, Eden is actually quite long.
Okay, so when I
Go
look
down
at the
the
existing
gravel road.
footprint, it's just what it is now, it's been worked away?
That's the top of the pump.
Okay.
That's you pull into Eden, there's one section, but then you go down the hill, and that whole area was the old landfill area.
Robert, hey Robert, those wells, remember they drilled all them wells?
Kilometer wells.
Yeah.
Never checked them.
Never once
Just
checked.
found them, I think,
You know, to see what the
$6,000.
water's even like, just to.
Oh, to dip the water.
And we got those.
They never did it.
Never once.
Never came.
No.
That was 30 years ago.
They're
They
more,
make all these rules, but nobody shows up.
move the goalposts.
Unless they wanna close it, right, Robert?
Yeah.
Well, then tell them to come and dip it and see what the water's like.
To me, it's crazy.
You maybe don't want to go.
Okay.
I don't know if it's gonna cost anything. We stretch it over 35 years, closing it.
I could borrow you money over that period of time, but
You're gonna need it,
Well, two
like,
landfills.
for what they want to close it, the cost to close it.
And then you have that
And then
operating.
they need a mortgage on it.
because yeah, we still, like I said, there's still some very big and expensive decisions that need to be made. But once they get to that mound, and are we gonna put a whole full layer of clay on top of that to their satisfaction? Because that old pit runs very long along. Because you go in, you go down, and you just.
I don't know if we have to
No,
do
no.
all that to
No.
the south, I'm not sure.
With its pit behind that, it's there's nothing down the bottom. It's all toward the road. It's, once you go down the hill, and that's where all the steel is sitting. That wasn't garbage dump.
I thought that was the old cell where we used to burn. Right on top of.
Not in the bottom.
Oh, okay.
It's
That's
where
just
the
off that
ash
side.
pile is.
Yeah.
Straight south of that. And then, yeah.
Yeah. But is it straight south down the hill then?
Well,
Right on the hill.
that's on, that is a hill.
That is-
The hill is the.
So it would be kind of stupid to spend a whole bunch of money on clay to cap a little circle and all the land around the sand. That would be accomplished.
Yeah.
Well, sure enough.
Yeah, I had clay. That's crazy.
Because it's just like, picture having an umbrella. You're just trying to stop the water from taking that leachate away.
Yeah.
So you got an umbrella.
Because we don't have any
It'd be
leachate
cheaper
ponds
to
up
buy
our
a big
house.
umbrella.
Alright, all in favor?
We don't have a choice.
Yeah.
What's the choice now?
Put your darn hand up.
Yeah, exactly.
Carried.
I don't know why you asked that question, Trevor. No, that's right.
Okay, foreman charge account. 1210, do I have a mover?
Sure.
Any sure? Seconder? Anybody?
Nobody wants to second it.
On costs.
So we get it on the table, we can go through it.
Whereas the foreman is designated officer under the bylaw 7-2025 and has established purchasing parameters, sorry, under the Manitoba trading and
Municipal tendering and procurement policy.
therefore be it resolved that the credit card in the amount of $5,000 is authorized in the foreman's name. Further be it resolved that the card account at Princess Auto in the amount of $5,000 is authorized in the foreman's and the operator's names.
So your last foreman did not want a credit card in his name or anything, and I think he actually refused. But as you guys are aware, especially through accounts payable process, the majority of the expenses you incur are incurred by transportation services. So this is procedural to get Mike's credit card, and then to get a charge account at Princess Auto 2. Not that we go to Brandon very often, but when we do, the boys always have their Princess Auto flyers, and they're always asking me to, oh well, this is $15 cheaper here, this is 15, can you get this, can you get that? So might as well set them up with a charge account, so when they do go to Brandon and they do have that list of items that they've been waiting to get, they can just charge it and then it's sent to us. Princess Auto is very strict, right? You need to prove your ID. No one can just walk in and say, hi, I'm Jordan, let me charge this on the RM's account. I'm very impressed with how Princess Auto runs. And then the credit card, yeah, I really think your foreman should have a credit card to function. And he's still new and everything, but we have gone over the purchasing and procurement policy. And so far he, usually gives me a heads up before spending any dollars. And as displayed even in this meeting, when you guys do have questions, he's prompt to reply on any spending that he has done and why he did it that way. So this is installing a bit of initiative and independence in our public works department. You'll see even, I think the Princess Auto bill went through where accounts payable, where they went and grabbed things that they could just simply find cheaper. And then with the credit card, there are some items too, like he was pricing out, he wants this thing for doing oil changes on the large equipment. He knows this supplier that offers it at about 40% the cost that we were seeing on Canoe. So even though we try to put everything through Canoe in our purchasing group, if he's willing to go through the work through a reputable supplier, then it's a bonus for us to have him do that little extra work and save $100 here or there on these kind of purchase of items as well.
Any questions?
I don't think I'm okay with it to a point, just let's be very frugal about it, I guess, that way. Say open checkbook, because sometimes they're a little nervous.
Yeah.
I think we do have good people there, I'm not disputing what they're saying, but
Yeah.
there's been a few expenses go through here in the last little while that some of it could have been avoidable. And there's one back in November that happened, it was a $12,000 one, and that was avoidable. But I found it for information.
Which was that?
That was a differential on the tractor.
Oh, yeah, the tractor broke down.
Yeah.
Why do you think it was avoidable?
Ran out of oil.
Well, that wasn't included on my submitted equipment damage report that they provided me.
That's information I got from a very reliable source. And I guarantee it's true.
Which tractor was that? New one?
Where we had to take it to, I think, Rocky Mountain for a repair.
I hate to bring it up, but you guys need to know.
Who's the runner of it? We should check him out.
Same guy.
Well, I don't, that's no different than more, it's all total.
As a ratepayer, I thought getting a little red around here is just a reason.
Yeah, well,
And I'll leave it at that place.
I don't see any problem with the
No.
name.
You need $5,000 limit though?
But he always goes to Jordan anyways. It's not like he's going to behind his back and buying this and going, oh, too late. He always asks Jordan out front, should I get it? What do you think? And then he gets it, or Jordan says, well, we really need it. No, maybe we don't.
They'll only make one bad purchase and it'll go through this table, so you guys will see it then. It's
Yeah.
too late for that purchase. But
We can always
whoever they are.
we can always cancel that credit card.
Yeah.
It's not hard to cancel.
I think we have to have some faith in our employees.
Yeah, we do. We gotta give them a little bit. Don't have to hold their hand all the time.
It was lots of cheaper suppliers up there, so I would use cash to buy it. That's the,
Mike seems pretty good and seemed pretty down to earth as far as I can see.
Okay, all in favor then? Carried.
Next Sorry, Jared.
Next up, we got a request from the Kelwood Egg Society. I don't think you guys appoint anybody to that board, right? They're an independent board that council has no influence on. So you'll see their request in here. I've written up a resolution with a blank dollar amount. This is one completely up to you guys. If you haven't had a chance to read it, just let me know, I'll read it, but otherwise,
is there currently an arena, an outdoor arena, and it's just getting rebuilt, or is this a brand new thing?
No, there's a wooden, I guess it's a horse arena by description, but it's wooden and it's rotting. Actually, it's the posts and the rails, top rails are rotting. And I'm not sure what their plan is because I was asked to come to the meeting, not as a council, just as a human being, but I didn't make the meeting. But it's that's what they're trying to replace there in the concession or the what do you call that?
The admission booth.
The admission booth is old as everybody was stable, so
It's cute. It's like an old lemonade stand.
yeah, that's right. So it's just simple little things, right? But I mean, it all has a cost, right? And I'm not sure if they're going to do work in the arena. Like, my son actually helps maintain the arena for the horses to be in, but it's lowering itself. So if they're going to take the fence out, it needs to be, I'll say, rolled in and built back up so the water sits in like a big pool. So that if that's part of what they do, it's an ongoing process for them. And it's quite a fair, actually. The Ag City puts on quite a fair there, so it's worth putting some help into.
We've donated in the past, though, didn't we? We've donated in the past.
I think it's
Through VLP monies and years ago.
yeah.
Just help them out.
They don't ask a lot.
It's a good favor on. That's home.
I don't know. I can run
It's
and
not
check.
much,
I
no.
mean, cut checks to Covered Egg Society before.
It's been a while.
I'm just wondering how it's been a while. Something to start. Does it launch? Got to start someplace.
2 each. And 2 each.
2 each? That's 1,200 then.
Well, you gave the fire department all
Two.
2 total, like 2,000.
2,000.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus we also threw in some services.
I like the way he talks. No, I know they're doing a great thing, and it's not. You don't ask every year, which is kind of cool too, right? It's just because I read it done right this time again will last as long as the last one, which is they did a little repair there last year. We need for safety purposes because the horses they use wood because when the horse hits the wood, it doesn't hurt the horse. I guess I don't know much about horses. He was random. I heard that once.
Did you steal now?
Yeah, but I see even thought if they built it, and I'm not involved in that, but they built something to pull the fall off. They got a pocket where the horse bumped it and took over. Because we do screw piles in part of my wheel there, but that would be my way to go with screw pile. It would last for a long time.
Depends on how big or maybe how much they want to do, right?
And it's quite an arena. Like I don't know how to describe it.
I figured on it, or you said 1,200 only. Why is it longer?
That's all we do.
So
Yeah.
they just use the vent post.
They drove them in, yeah, and
That
put
vent
a,
post and then put a 1x4 around?
no, I would actually a rail, like
Oh, a rail.
around, and then they obviously go, I'm gonna say 16 feet apart for lack of a measurement, and then just do that.
Cause I don't track you, they have those rails. You
Okay.
sell them there.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
You got some around this year, see?
because this is all treated wood, but I mean, it's whatever. It's,
Well, if you put treated, it'll stay there a long time. If
Yes.
it's not treated, it ain't gonna last.
and it's safe to assume that it's the time it's been there that we do some of the working on the rain now. Like I said, if you bump one of those posts with a, say a tractor, for example, the post isn't going to take that. So some broke, some rotted, but they replaced some of the rails to keep it usable. And the bleachers is the other one, I guess. And they've been wooden bleachers sitting outside for like 30 years or something. I'm not sure how old this thing
There's
is.
still lots of them sitting outside.
Yes. So I like Ron's number, really, definitely.
2. I like your number, it's less.
Well, I'll tell you, when this guy across the table starts talking about spending money, you all gotta just kind of bow down. He's a frugal.
I was listening to this guy over here.
Yeah, you get a slap.
Washing our money.
Yeah, that's right.
You guys have previously kind of been all over the place. You haven't given them any money since 2021, which was $900. Previously, around 2009, it looks like you guys gave them about $6,500 for corral panels and some other kind of capital work they were doing.
That was in the horse barns, yeah.
And in 2021, you did a grant to rebuild something for about $900, and then operating grants of about $500 a year. But it wasn't even consistent. You know, 2008, 2011, 12, 13, 14, and 16, then 18.
So we have a lot of requests.
Yeah.
Suspect.
In other words, they don't ask for
They don't ask for
So do I have a mover on this first?
much. I'll move it. Or we'll consider getting the other one here.
Seconder.
Ron Costello.
Be resolved that the council of the RM of Rosedale
Rosedale approving a donation to the Calwood Ag Society in the amount of. Robert?
I like Ron's number, but we'll see if he repeat it. Maybe that's
Do
when
we
we say
get
3.
two?
2.
Good. I don't know.
2
Yeah.
pieces.
Yeah, I don't know.
12, 2, split the difference, 16.
No, I thought you meant 200 apiece, which is 12, but if you mean 2,000 each,
2,000.
okay, that's, I like that
But
number.
I'm good with 2,000.
Okay,
You should like that, Earl.
I like it. It's-
Amount of 2,000 towards their Calwood Fair infrastructure project.
You know, yeah, like say the number cost, that was crazy.
All
It's
in
all-
favor?
It's all sweat equity, it's all, that along with the materials, of course, that's good.
We don't have very many.
No, actually, you know, it's a dying thing, actually, so the horse people are
Or dying out?
dying out, yes.
Less and less.
One time that was a 2 days ago, that's maybe that long as long
And then we-
12/9/12, Calwood dump permit, didn't have a mover. Dave Turner. Seconder, Robert Scott. Be it resolved that the council of the RM of Rosedale accept the Calwood waste disposal permit ground permit number 39921.
So as with the Eden operating permit, we've gotten the Kelwood operating permit now. And as I indicated, the Kelwood one had more immediate demands requiring out of it. And it's where the, I don't think I included the submission from the environmental officer, but he wanted us to already have this remedied by last week. And I was like, governments don't work that fast. Thanks for giving us a permit, but we'll do what we can at the speed that we're capable of, and that's really our next agenda item. So usually we just need a resolution showing you guys that we got the operating permit, and then we can talk more about the next item when we're at it.
All in favor? Carried. Okay. 12/13, landfill cell. Do I have a mover? Robert Scott. Seconder. Dave Tedder. Whereas under the conditions of the operating permit for the Calwood waste disposal ground, final decision elevation of the current achieved cell are required promoted promptly. And whereas the request for the personal engineer service was issued, therefore be it resolved that the council of the RM of Rosedale approves the proposed from
Blank in the amount.
blank amount.
So, the environmental officer, like I indicated, he wanted us to be able to provide him this last week. But basically, part of the permit requirements is the final design elevations of the current cell. And VRM needs an engineer to come in, measure the height of the active cell, and provide elevations for when a clay cap is added in the slope to meet the provincial standards. Because right now we're not really meeting any provincial standards, right? We're just covering it. We're not following any kind of requirements when it really comes to the toe and cap and items like that. So I went through my Rolodex of cards I collected at convention from engineering firms and threw out this request for proposal. So in there we've received 3 proposals. The initial amount is what we're after right now, but 2 out of the 3 said you're gonna go kind of halfway down the road and then wondering why you're standing at the middle of the road. So I was like, all right, well then give my council an idea of what the final 2 steps are going to be. So that's where you'll see, we've received proposals for the first part, just the final elevations and designs, anywhere from 11 to 34,000. But then the projected future amounts push the project closer to 100,000. and this is without material and things like that. This is just the engineering side. Because again, once the engineer supplies the design of final elevations, then the environmental officer is going to require you to close the cell with your final design. So they're going to, as soon as we submit this to environment, they're going to immediately be on us for the second half. We're not going to make any commitment to anybody by accepting the first one, that it's just going to automatically bleed into the second half. But I wanted you guys just to have a chance to kind of see the proposals and kind of see how this all works. And it's kind of 4 phases, but really it's 2 phases that matter. Because you'll need an engineer anyways to do the tendering and the administration of the final project and the final closure plan and everything. But this is kind of where we're at and how expensive it is to deal with a full garbage cell. I reached out to the guys who came to a reception delegation for you guys, but they're not at a point yet where they can bring in all the regional partners for a regional solution yet. So that's what I know this month.
So this is the cell closure. It's not the cell closure and opening of the new one.
No. The cell closure.
This is just the paperwork part of it.
This is just the final elevations and slope design. This is saying, okay, well, where you're at this many feet above sea level. Your final plan says you can go this high above sea level, and your slope needs to be a 3 to 1 or a 5 to 1 or whatever, as per provincial requirements on landfill cells.
So when they do their study on this, it'll tell us how much more we can still elevate to add to.
That's
Or not.
Or
yeah.
not.
Or not, yes, or not, great.
yeah.
So if we're 1,500 feet above sea level and we go to 1,600 feet, then we're okay. I'm just using numbers.
Yeah.
But we could do.
Wishful thinking, I know, but you gotta
We're
get.
gonna take the top foot off because
Yeah.
they're already too many foot above.
Yeah.
And to be clear, I just want to make sure I understand what you just said. So the initial amounts, those are the firm quotes. That's like, for example, JRCC 11,083.
Yeah.
And then the projected future amount is after we take that document,
And get it approved by the environmental officer.
then phase 2 is now.
He'll
do
make
something.
us immediately required to act on it.
So the acting on it, the $100,000 that Dylan has put in there.
Yeah.
The acting on it is the site services, engineering,
Final
supervision,
closure
getting
plan.
the bids,
Yeah. Working with the contractors.
and JRCC didn't want to give that estimate amount.
Not at this time.
Okay.
I don't think it's really fair to automatically award somebody both sides of the contract. Because right now we just really got to satisfy the environmental officers and ministers.
And hopefully by ourselves go 2 or 3 years.
100.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
So that JRCC is the obvious little bit, and then just
Do the initial.
everything else is information, right?
Yeah.
Am I understanding that correctly? Okay.
I want to say JRCC was just awarded the contract by the Manitoba Water Services Board for the Kelwood water plant assessment that we kicked off about 6 months ago.
Yeah, okay.
I want to say JRCC just got that one.
So we get 2 for 1.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Save on mileage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Except your environmental engineer is different than your water.
Well, I hope they don't mix the two together.
Well, that's called synergy.
Yeah.
But be prepared, JRCC's second half is probably going to align somewhere around this range where in the end it's going to be a $95,000 to $115,000 bill.
But what you said earlier, we're not on the hook then, if they're, say they come in, the same JRCC comes in at 200,000 on the total.
Yeah.
We're not hooked into
No.
giving them that contract.
But this is, like, I want you guys to understand how expensive landfill closures are.
We're learning.
We're learning. We're finding that out really quick. We didn't plan on loading it.
Well, we got operating permits, baby
I'm
steps.
just saying, we didn't plan on loading it.
Okay, so very resolved that the Council of the RM of Rosedale approved the proposal from JRCC in the amount of $11,083. All in favor? Carried.
Yeah, you get.
Well, there's still time for us to make friends with Evergreen too.
How much is that gonna cost us, George?
Probably a $300,000 buy-in,
Yeah.
or minimum.
We'll get the Valentine's or chocolate for Valentine's or something.
24, Eden Water.
They're gonna run out of room soon.
Capital contribution. Do I have a
Doesn't
mover?
look so good there now.
For what number is that?
12-14.
What the one?
Secondary. Scott. Be it resolved that the Council of the RM of Rosedale accept the notice from the capital contribution for the water supply upgrades needed for the town of Nipah.
So you guys were made aware of this back around October 2024, that the town of Nipah received approval from the Manitoba Water Services Board to update their Auberon well site and then twinning the raw water pipelines, supply lines to the water treatment plant. Things kind of just got held up and delayed, and unfortunately when capital projects get delayed, prices go up. So this is just kind of your warning that they're projecting
Pricing.
2.78%, and even then, like they said, we're unable to issue an invoice until the project is commissioned and all expenses have been summarized. But this is probably going to trigger you guys of now having to do a utility rate study for the rural water supply, the one that we have waiting at the Manitoba Water Services Board for the Kelwood one.
Next.
Yeah, the Rosedale or Eden water supply is probably going to be next. Just looking at your financials, we haven't really been planning too much of a capital on the revenue of it, but we'll know more too once we get through the audit and how much extra revenue the Eden utility has. In a perfect world, it'll be able to cover that, but if there's any shortfalls, that'll likely have to be put in as a rate rider and collected off the water.
Any questions? No? All in favor? Carried. $12.15 tax service. Move it. Robert, thank you. Seconder?
Sure.
Tyra?
You can just read the therefore.
Right here?
Yeah.
Now therefore, it's hereby resolved that the RM of Rosedale hire tax Inc. to manage tax errors recovered on the municipal behalf for the terms of 3 years, and therefore be it resolved that administration be and is hereby authorized to sign tax service Inc. engagement letter on behalf of the municipality.
So last meeting, you guys passed your resolution declaring 2024 as your year of tax sale. So now this brings in tax service to do it. Again, the funding that tax service bases it off of, it doesn't actually cost us anything unless we recover the property in tax sale. So what they do is anytime they work on a property for collections, they apply those fees. They give us the bill and we immediately apply those fees onto the appropriate tax rolls individually and then pay tax service off of it. So unless we acquire the property in tax sale, the person who's in tax sale is going to be the one who has to pay all these fees and charges. It's wonderful because it's a very bureaucratic, very specific steps in the tax sale process. If you miss one step, you have to restart your whole process. So that's why the majority of Manitoba municipalities all use tax service, because they're pretty flawless. They're great at registering on titles and everything. Because as soon as so I've already given 2 warning letters. So now the next one, I send the list to tax service. and then they give the warning letter, and then as soon as they start the process, they immediately register a claim on the title. So you can't run and sell your house without having to deal with the outstanding that's currently in the tax sale process. And it's way better to have them dealing with that than municipal administration trying to register liens on everyone's titles and the possibility of human error. So I encourage you guys to pass this resolution. Is there any questions about tax service or tax sale process or anything like that?
No? All in favor? Carried. Bill 16. Next card. Do I have a mover? Or whatever. Seconder. Dave Tutterer. Whereas the RM GPS unit on equipment used 3G network until TELUS promptly shut down the network without warning. Therefore, be it resolved, the RM of Rosedale approved the upgrade to the equipment for the generation 1 to generation 4 at the price of $1,165.50.
So you guys have these units on both your graders and your one mower, and we use this text to car or the GPS system. We use it monthly because that's what we use to submit to the province for the billing of maintaining all those roads. We have to provide them with the employees' timesheets showing that they were working on one of the provincial roads, and we have to supply them with the maps of the GPS and text to car. It didn't only impact our GPS units. Believe it or not, there are still quite a few people out there who have 3G SIM cards in their phone, and they would have noticed in January that the phone wasn't working either, because TELUS had the CRTC rights to the 3G network in Manitoba, and they just shut it down without telling us why in January. So, so I was able to just kind of deal with him. So you'll see kind of the invoice of what the fourth generation system should cost. You won't be able to replace it with an alternative company for as little as what they're offering, and this is kind of tied into your guys' 6-figure annual deal with the province for their maintenance. So I make the recommendation for you guys to pass this resolution. Is there any questions? You guys know what I'm talking about with the GPS units and the...
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all the handy, I think, for place off the safety as well. Benefit.
All in favor?
Carried.
Tile drainage, northwest, 24-16-50. Do I have a mover? Scott. Seconder. Carl.
Sure. Let's do this.
Be it resolved that the Council of the RM of Rosedale approve the tile drainage request at northwest 24-16-15 west with the following conditions.
So in your package, you'll see we received a letter from Precision Land Solutions, and then there's a map as well of what their plan is, and then I replied back to them with just the rules, and here we are. I don't have sign off or anything. Did they contact the councillor of ward that has 24-16-15?
That'd be
No.
Mr. Scott.
16-15. No. I think they're working with watershed, because if you look at the map, I think they're discharging it into a watershed drain. Is there a watershed drain around Road 85 and 265?
Right down the middle of the section.
Who's on that board, on the watershed board?
I
Have they talked about this?
just
at all
the
or anything?
subdivision.
Oh.
Not me.
Yeah, we just.
These tile drainage,
That's a good
They're
one
tough.
to do, a tile drainage project.
Why is that?
Well, it's a wet, it's wet to start with, and there is a ditch to empty it into. It's not dumping it in Rosedale's ditch. It's called Manitoba Water Resources, about 100 years ago, apparently put in this drain through this farm.
Okay. So the only condition you kind of want to see is they just get landowner sign off from the watershed district?
Yeah, I think that it's a project that is fitting. It's a good spot to do it. Try it. And make their land, I'm sure, a lot more productive. And it shouldn't hurt anybody downstream.
That's a huge drain too. It's a big drain.
Yeah. Well, they changed that drain back in the, I think, the 30s. That water used to go straight east into Rose Lake. And Lake Manitoba was short. This is the story I was told.
Where's Rose Lake?
East over the Art Ridge. If you follow 265 east, there's a lake out there. And that's where this water will go if man didn't put up restrictions. So they dug a ditch and then made it go south. And if you're ever there in the spring, when the snow starts to melt, the water doesn't want to go south.
Right.
It wants to go north until it gets up to a certain height, and then it'll go. And it goes down into the back end of DEB Creek. You get into the White Mine River, and then it's into Lake Manitoba.
And you can't pay enough for that kind of history.
You can't pay enough. Well, we had quite a thing years ago on council, and the CEO of the day found an old map down in the archives, and it showed that it was the provincial government that did the digging across that farm. So then there was a mysterious loss of a culvert in that big dike. Yeah. You know, when you go through a dry season or a stretch of dry years, things like that going missing, doesn't seem about water.
Right.
Now, you can see it with your bare eye that there was a culvert there. Or maybe that'll come into play with this, I don't know. Because this is on the east end of it, on the boundary between Lansdowne and Rosedale.
Okay, on sign off from the watershed district, adhere to establish a policy of the RM. All in favor? Carried.
Thanks for that, really.
In camera. Do I have a mover? Any sheriff? Seconder. Dave Petter. Be resolved in accordance with the Municipal Act section 152 bracket 3 bracket B bracket II and bracket 33 or III.
Sorry, Carl.
The Council of the RM of Rosedale do hereby close the meeting to the public to move into camera and discuss at
2:45.
2:45. All in favor? Carried. In camera exit. Do I have a mover?
I'm just never ready for what comes out.
Moves and Ernie Schreier seconds. Be resolved, the Council of the RM of Rosedale conclude the entire camera session. Reopen the meeting to the public at
3:35.
Sorry. All in favor? Carried. Item 5.1, Jordan Suchek, do I have a mover? Robert Scott moves. Jack Henry seconds. Whereas Section 287 of the Municipal Act provides the municipal with direct and control of management of municipal roads. and whereas council passed resolution 25/307 instructing the removal of the deed that is placed on a road allowance by November 30th, 2025, and was provided under the order of remain construction under section 242, and whereas Jordan Sadachek appealed in force under the section 244 bracket 1, therefore be it resolved that the appeal has been denied and directions Jordan to move the obstruction. Therefore be it resolved that under the section 245 bracket 1 bracket B, the municipal is to take the action to remove the obstruction on the road allowance, and under section 245 bracket 3, the costs of the action taken by the RM are amount owing to the RM by the person who
contravene the act.
Contravene the act if it's not removed by April 30th, 2026. All in favor?
Abstain.
What was it? All in favor? Okay, here. Okay. Fall 19. Posting counts resolution number 1. Do I have a movement? Yes. Over. Seconder. Robert Scott. Be it resolved that the council of the RM of Rosedale approves an engineer service agreement with Burns Mendel for the Kelwood Arena. All in favor? Carried. All 19 in count on post resolution number 2. Do I have a mover? Dave Turner. Seconder. Jeff Henderson. Be it resolved the council of the RM of Rosedale approves the agreement for payment of tax arrears on roll 1924000. All in favor? Carried.
I received no notice of motions today.
Open discussion or anything anybody else wants to talk about? No? All right.
Well, before you shut it down,
Okay.
last meeting we had discussion about buying a new, or purchasing new pick blades
Oh, okay.
for the graders. That's all I understood is what happened here, but it's discussed it. Then I got talking to somebody shortly after, and we got two brand new blades, $12,000. Without
We trying to do this. Thought we were just getting the picks.
I thought we were just gonna have a discussion about it and then do some research on it. 'Cause the
This
ones
is
that
when you guys were talking to the foreman. Yeah.
Ernie suggested about the ones that go on the back of the blade.
yeah,
So unless they could have everything, have it all.
like I thought a sizable purchase like that should be discussed.
Did they buy it?
Oh yeah, that's
That
they're
is-
installed and everything.
That's,
You
yeah,
said
that's
it.
all, that's how we heard his eye.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was just replacing the teeth.
Oh, the picks on the blade.
Yeah, that's all I thought he was replacing. I didn't know they put it on the black blade.
Well, that, I didn't see it, Carl, but that's what I was told.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
We just
No,
spent
I mentioned.
not that
those,
many
like,
years
12
before.
Those ones from the uncle that go on the back of the blade.
Yeah.
And so then this we can have straight blades and the picks all in one blade.
So that's what,
That's that.
this was
I was just wondering what that was then.
Because all these profit sections were.
Yeah, it sounds like a really good idea, but maybe it's in the wants and needs department, whether we,
Well, it's all on that, I know, like I said, you know, what do you call it, that, I forget what the RM that is over there, by Russell.
Right Mountain West. Harrison Park.
No, next, north of Russell,
Ryan Mountain West.
whatever it is out over there, but they got them.
I think they are, but they're likely good, but did we get our money out of the set that we only bought a couple of years ago?
Erickson got $11,000.
Oh, there's,
Erickson got $1 million on theirs. They never used them. Guys,
see, those guys live by them like they swear because they do down in those hills.
one of the offer, one of the uncles said.
Well, apparently, I
The
didn't.
same as putting a cultivator shovel in the back of your shank.
My
Eventually
idea
pull
is,
the head of
there
the-
should be a couple of
on the
us
right hand road.
on that shop.
I heard they can.
For some
yeah,
of these
be-
major purchases.
Well, he came and talked to you guys, and then we
we
left
It makes
discussion.
sense. We have goals, but I did hear that too.
Yeah, I
And
got
you
some
guys gave him the
information about
authority
how
to do it.
wonderful they were, but I didn't realize we were buying.
I didn't know you were buying either.
I didn't know, I told them to check into them,
Thank you.
but I didn't know they're buying them, but whatever. We can sell those other ones, I know that.
Well, that's what I'm saying earlier, we gotta recoup.
Yeah,
We
we,
spent 10,
You might
Well,
start around
I think
this
on
up to the cap.
those other two, didn't we, Rod?
10 or 11.
Yeah.
One
the only reason why I heard about those things is because Paul had asked me about them from Springdale County. And I was telling him what they are. And he said, well, I should get a hold of them. I guess he got a hold of the uncle. And they were over at our shop.
Okay.
And I just heard that, what, a week ago or so? So Paul ordered a set now for the colony grader. He's putting them on the colony grader.
Maybe we can sell them. Take them off ourselves.
I don't know, I think we're better off with those other ones than we are with the picks on the blades, because then this way you've got both things with it.
I think they're wonderful where you got a lot of,
But you're not supposed to grade with them, like, it's not a grader blade, it's, anybody tells you that runs a real grader or operator will tell you that pick's not a grader blade.
I don't think the discussion's about the thing, I think the discussion's about if they were bought without.
Well, yeah, like that part I didn't know about, but whatever, like, I didn't hear about that part, but I didn't know they had bought them, I told him to check into them and find out.
oh yeah, I agree with you.
Well, if they're not, yeah, they're not functioning.
And he was standing there, I said, I should ask the uncle about them.
Yeah,
Because an inquiry is not a purchase.
yeah, they put them in a lot of different.
There's eventually an inquiry to purchase it.
So then clearly I need to be in attendance then when you guys are having
Well, yeah, I
the
mean,
talks with the foreman
maybe,
before the meeting.
Mike took it, whatever, out of contact, I'm not sure, but it doesn't make any difference, but I mean, the purchase is made and now they're there, but I mean, it needs to be more clear.
Clear.
That's the better word to say.
Yeah, exactly, on some of the stuff that's bought.
Because that's a lot of money, I mean, it's a lot of money in our world.
Well, it is.
So we could go.
So,
We should have 3 sets there, because it was a set from years ago too.
We had the old set, yeah.
Well, then we should try
I'm
to sell
not too sure that they're the best thing in the world to use all the time anyway. They get all this stuff propped up.
well, that's what I didn't like about them is because you're constantly lifting the stone up and the stone is constantly leaving the road. And all we're stuck with is a bunch of fines.
I guess that's why I brought it up, because I think it should be, decision should be made at this table.
Oh, yeah, it should have been, yeah.
Everybody should have some input.
Oh, absolutely.
As far as having those other ones in the back, I don't want to agree with those things in the building, man, just get rid of the washboard. Washboard, that's the only thing that should be used for, like, grading, that's gonna bleed for how many years, and it should stay a bleed for how many more years. Like, when you're grading, like, I don't care, that's my kind of thing.
Yeah.
Roll it all together, because if you ain't rolling it together, there's not much sense in grading.
Well, it'd really be nice to get a really good solid input on this because we're all speculating on this.
Well,
Other than the purchase of, we
So the other thing is to bring.
We can't get rid of the purchase now, but
This time is done, unfortunately.
that's done now.
It's not.
I just told them to check into them, see what they're, what they're like.
They checked in or.
Oh, I guess they checked in, yeah.
I checked right in.
Yeah, you checked right in, I guess. I didn't know about that part until I heard
Check
Paul.
right out too.
Okay.
That was mine.
Okay, no, that's fine. I'm glad you brought it up because I didn't know nothing about it.
Oh, my only thing I was gonna say is the guys are doing a great job.
Oh yeah, they're doing.
The roads are awesome. can't say nothing bad about my road.
I actually got a compliment of how they went with that tractor and pushed everything back on 471.
You did that in my area.
A lot of corners, yeah.
Yeah.
You did that in my area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got a lot of good compliment.
Along the highway?
Yeah.
Department of Highways did that.
No, this is up by Jerry Cole's.
Oh, okay.
On 471.
I saw it.
Alright, good for them.
They did mine on the
They are safe, you know,
A few quarters at home too.
So
I
let's
see
see.
Jeff, actually, I ran into him, Jeff was doing it. He was the one pushing it back. I was like, oh, man. They did a great job.
I was looking forward to hearing your healthcare meeting that you went to. Regional Health Authority one?
Oh, the shared health?
Oh, sure, health, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess I didn't get to talk to you guys about that. Sure. Yeah. Well, we met. The hospital is on track so far. So they figured, Prairie Mountain Health figures they'll be handed the keys from Birds Hill. I think it was April, towards the end of April, and then they start their 6-month training session where they're going to open all 5 levels, is what I understand, but they're only opening part of them. So they're going to gradually move over, and then they got to start training, because they said it's like going from a one-house schoolhouse to university. They got to teach the nurses where to go from their locker to their station.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Because it's a big building, right?
I think you gotta make sure all the equipment's working and everything else.
Yeah. So fully functional, I think they're hoping for 2027.
It's not far away.
Jeez. It's quite a building anyways.
Are they?
As long as everything still stays on track.
Yeah.
And other than that, that's about all that came up. They've got like the inquiries for the doctors and all that. They're up on that a bit too. The nursing staff. There won't be no CT scan put in the building just yet. They are having room for it. What Prairie Mountain Health
I
is.
don't understand that.
I don't either.
They have the people that will put the $1 million in.
But the government's thought is because they got one in Portage, one in Dauphin, and they're putting another one in Brandon, that they're going to overlap too much. So, but
it's backed up all the time.
It's not denied yet that they don't put one here. It's just that it's not happening right now.
They built for provisions of having one installed.
Right. Yeah.
They get the machine, they go ahead. They don't have to do modifications, but it seems a nice place like this starting out. Can't sneeze at it, MRI anymore.
Well, the Elks Association, they were willing to donate money to pay for that.
Prairie Mountain Health knows that.
Oh yeah, no, they were told that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they denied it for now until they do their studies or whatever. So. And that's about it.
Well, they just don't want a waiting list anymore. They want to keep the
I
waiting list.
don't know.
I think staffing is an issue too, right? Because that's a lot of staff.
Yeah.
A specialized staff.
Yes.
Almost have 3 trained people for 1 week's work.
Yeah.
Ballpark, right? Pretty close.
But we all run to Portage or we run to Brandon or to Dauphin with the same people.
Yeah. But they are introducing a second one in Brandon, I'm told. So. And that's all I can tell you about that meeting. I will be going to Inglis on the 20th.
Absolutely. English has got those very really.
Take a side road.
I'll check it when I'm there.
Well, they use it. You know where they say it really works well is on that along the lake, down in those cabin areas.
Okay.
Because they do all that, and they cut all them hills. Every single road is cut with those things.
Okay.
And well, supposedly the guy that from the uncle, his cabin down there, he's the one that got him into those things.
Okay.
And it cuts all the ice. Like when I'm down there working, they cut every road and then they graded it all. It's a beautiful road. You can climb those hills coming out of there easy. Like,
I'll be attending the mayor and Dave's
I was down there in December. That's brutal.
yeah, that's along the lake of the barrier.
Yeah.
All right. If there's nothing else, can I have one over for adjournment?
Sure.
Be resolved at the February 13th meeting of the RM of Rosedale Council be adjourned at 3:52 p.m. Thank you very much. All in favor?
Carried.
Thank you